A very good morning and welcome to the STIHL TIMBERSPORTS Nordic Championship 2022 live from Stenkullen in Sweden. And boy, have we got a program coming up for you guys today. Absolutely unbelievable. We've got the women's competition, the intermediates, and of course, the rookies. And as always, by my side, the big man himself, the one and only Troy Mannery. Welcome.
Thanks, Marcus. Yeah, glad to be here in Stenkullen, in just a little bit outside of Gothenburg in Sweden, and we're looking forward to a really good show today. Lots of great action, lots of great athletes. It's going to come bombing at you so fast, you don't want to blink.
Talking about not wanting to blink, we've got a man on stage that is Anders Axglo. He's already on fire and ready to rock and roll. Anders, over to you.
Well, thank you, guys. There is a buzz among the athletes all around backstage, getting ready to get on stage, because this is the big show coming to town. This is the big show coming to Sweden, to Gothenburg, to Scandinavia. And it's all about, in the end, who's going to represent Sweden in the World Championships in the end of October. And leading up to there, all the people in the categories wanting to get there, and the pro categories coming this afternoon. There is a buzz happening here. Back to you guys.
So the athletes are getting ready. Of course, Anders is going to send them out on stage. And just like he mentioned, this is a big thing, especially for the Swedes being the host nation of this year's World Championships. And whoever is going to be best today, well, he's going to be representing his country at the World Championships. So,
yeah, that's correct. It's a big deal for these guys and girls as well, because there's a lot at stake, because they're hosting the event at the end of October, as we heard from Anders. And so there's a lot of pressure on all of these athletes to perform well. And each and every one of them knows that there is a mega amount of talent next to them on stage in a lot of the cases. And so we're going to see that there's going to be some heavy competition today. We also have some guest athletes on site. So we're going to see a lot of competition and a lot of talent out there today. And it's going to be a lot of fun.
What about this, let's call it a new format with rookies, intermediates and women competing more or less at the same time, going through the same disciplines? That's going to be interesting to see. It's quite new and I think fantastic.
Well, it makes the day more interesting as well, because we have all of these athletes on stage from 3 different categories that are going to be competing against each other in their individual categories. So it's going to show just how close the sport is among the we'll call them the starting athletes, and the rookies and the intermediates. And of course, we have our women competing today too. So it's a nice range to have on stage before we put the pros up there later on in the afternoon.
And talking about being close, I don't know if you can hear this, but it's getting loud on stage. Our studio is right next to the stage, so you can really feel the tension. You can really see that everybody's getting ready for this big competition. It's going to be a long day, but it's going to be a great day. And I think we can already hear Anders calling in the first athletes. So let's take a look and see what's happening on stage.
The vibe is live.
Idag på förmiddag, vi har både från Sverige, från Österrike, från Tyskland och från scenen ska vi ha den danska företrädaren, den danska scenen i klassen. Välkommen från Danmark, Felicia Bang!
All right, here come our first athletes coming up on stage. And of course, ladies first, to be gentlemanly. And our first athlete is Felicia Bang.
Big smile on her face, not only on the picture.
She's very new to timber sports, but we see her often on Instagram, for instance. As you saw her address her earlier, she does a lot of stuff on Instagram.
And of course, Juliana, she's been competing for quite some time now.
Yeah, she's an Austrian athlete, Juliana Einfalt.
I can see Anders already getting excited.
Yeah, he's getting into it on there. Åsa Nordberg is our first Swedish athlete coming up on stage. Next up, we should see Tova Njostad.
Absolutely correct.
There she is.
Second Swedish competitor. And we've got one more athlete coming up, and she is dangerous.
She is very dangerous. Her fingers also know how dangerous she is. Alren Übing from Germany.
Yeah, she injured herself quite a bit in Vienna, and she's still
She
laughing. She showed us
actually
today.
had a glove on her hand so that she could still compete because there was an open wound on her finger. So that tells you all you need to know about the motivation she has to do well. All right, next up, we're going to meet the athletes for our rookie competition, and there's a lot of young talent that's going to be joining our women on stage now. First one from Sweden, Axel Björk.
First of 11 competitors.
It's a good field for the rookies this year, actually.
Absolutely. A lot of new talent to be seen at this Nordic Championship.
Next up, Anton Lindberg coming up onto stage. So we're going to be seeing 23 athletes in total on stage in these three formats, or these three levels. Between the women, the rookies, and the intermediates. Now, for those of you who are wondering what intermediates means, because I was also wondering the other day, intermediates are athletes that are just getting into the sport, but are older than 24 years old, because a rookie can compete up until 24, and then they have to switch to the pro level if they've got the experience, but those don't have experience, start in the intermediate level, and then can compete there until they're ready for the pros.
I mean, it is the original extreme sport, but still, for many, it's something new to start at maybe at an older age. And this gives these guys the chance, you know, to get ready to become a pro. And I think it's great to see those intermediates. We've got some big talent there as well.
Absolutely, and there we see Robin Konicek from Austria. He's a solid competitor.
Oh, very solid.
Looking forward to seeing him on stage later on. Before him was Ebsen Petersen, and now coming up onto stage will be Adam Björns. One thing that you're noticing, and I've mentioned this in several programs in the past, is the athletes that are joining in the sport now and becoming more adept at the sport aren't those big, hulking, monstrous dudes anymore. They're very slight, but they're very wiry and powerful. So this is a good thing to see from the athletic standpoint. Edvin Berglund just coming up on stage now. Now you can see he's not a small guy, but he's not a monster either, you know?
Yeah, but he's got that fierce look, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. All the guys were taking their pictures earlier on, and our photographer, Sebastian, was like, okay, one time only, make us mean. Lukas Wagesreiter, the great hope for Austria, and this will be his final year. No, actually, he has a couple more years. He could participate as a rookie.
But he
Question
won't.
is, his skill level is at a point now where he could theoretically jump up into the pro level.
Yeah, I talked to him earlier. That's what he wants to do. Like you said, this should be his last season as a rookie.
This should be his
going
last
over
season.
to the pros, and he loves the competition.
Yes, he is a fierce competitor. Now coming on stage, Albin Nielsen. And of course, you'll always see, if they do have an Instagram or a Twitter account, you'll see their hashtag or their links, so you can follow them and keep up with what the athletes are doing. Here's a great name, Bo Andersen.
And look at the smile on his face.
From Denmark.
Oh, but
Smile
for
as he
the
comes
picture,
on, but right there, I'm coming for you.
Better watch out. Here comes Bo Andersen. So 2 more to go, 2 Swedes.
Yep. First up of the last 2 will be Johan Staff.
He was really stretching in preparation. This guy is...
I mean, you have to.
This guy is fit.
You have to start that procedure early. And I can tell you from my own experience, if you do not prepare properly before any of these sports, in particular when you're doing this, you're going to really suffer. Now just coming up on stage, Edvin Karlsson. He is one of those guys that the Swedes are looking forward to stepping into the next phase of his career shortly. He's a solid competitor and one of the favorites here today.
Yeah, having won the Rookie Cup 2022, he is definitely a face to watch out for.
All right, next will be our intermediate athletes, and as I said earlier, these are athletes that are 24 or older that are just getting into the sport, so this is their opportunity to start cutting their teeth in timber sports. And coming on stage now, Bart Gevers.
I tell you what, I'm really happy we've got this massive stage for all
there's gotta be
23
enough space
athletes.
for them.
Yeah, this is a big, big competition today.
Next up, Johan Sigerstedt, waiting there to come on. He's got your haircut.
Yeah, absolutely. We have the same barber. I mean, and look at the scenery. I mean, they come out of the woods, literally onto stage.
So
oh, what about that
missing
picture?
a picture on that one, unfortunately, but we just saw him coming on stage. And then we'll have next up Kim Volke.
Oh, we can already hear and feel the saws being...
The vibe is starting to increase in the background as the saws are getting warmed up. There we see Klaus Magnus Halvorsen. Oh, excuse me, Kim Volke is, I just said that, Kim Volke. After him will be Klaus Magnus Halvorsen. So now, as you see, there are some guest athletes out there, but because this is the Nordic Championships, we do have Norwegian athletes in the mix. So if a Norwegian athlete does win in the pro level, and the next closest Swede will both be going on to the World Championships in October. If I'm correct me if I'm wrong.
The Swede for sure. The
Swede
Norwegian
for sure, there's
most
no doubt about
probably.
it.
We still have to wait for the other national competition. But if he stays in the top 7, which he definitely would be after having won the Nordic Championships,
correct,
there's a great chance of him going there as well. So it is important for everyone competing today.
Yeah. Peter Eriksson just coming up on stage there.
Oh, look at the lineup.
That's a big group of people up there.
Have you seen anything like it before? I haven't.
Nope. Emil Svensson now joining them on stage. There'll be one more intermediate athlete. And, I was talking with Emil yesterday. Nice dude. We were teasing him about being the better-looking Swede of the two that were standing with me at the time. But there was a good laugh about that. And then Victor Klarmo coming up on stage. So we have our orders set up already for the heats coming up. We have our athletes on stage there. We'll get one final look before we jump back to the studio here. I'm looking forward to this, Marcus. It's going to be a fun day, Floaty.
I mean, just look at our picture. We've got the wood, we've got the big stage, we've got the intermediates, we've got the rookies, we've got the women up there. It's going to be one fun-packed day of STIHL Timbersports. and Anders Axlo, he's already on fire. And it's a Saturday morning.
And our stage moderator, as Anders, as you said, is on fire, but he has probably one of the best names for a STIHL Timbersports stage moderator ever, Axlo.
Axlo.
Best name ever, so fantastic that we've got the good group here today ready to go.
So how about that? Everything is set. We are ready to rock and roll. And of course, we're going to start with the ladies. So I think we should take a closer look at the women's format, because we've got stock saw, standing block chop, single buck, and underhand chop coming up for the intermediates and the rookies.
For the rookies, yeah.
And 3 disciplines for the women's competition. And we'll take a closer look at that right now.
The STIHL Timbersports women's competition. All athletes will compete in 3 disciplines. The maximum points awarded for each discipline result from the number of participating athletes. The first discipline is the stock saw. The fastest athlete will receive points equal to the total number of athletes competing, down to 1 point for the last place in each discipline. The second event is the single buck. Points remain the same, awarded based on the times, and as with all events, any rule infraction will result in a disqualification, and the athlete will receive 0 points for that discipline. In the final discipline, the underhand chop, it's the athlete's last chance to claim valuable points. The points from all disciplines are accumulated, and the athlete with the highest points total wins the competition.
So very much looking forward for that. But of course, we also have the rookies and the intermediates. And it's just a little different, but of course we want to explain that as well.
They have one extra discipline for the rookies and intermediates, so let's take a look at that now.
The STIHL Timbersports rookie competition. All athletes will compete in 4 disciplines. The maximum points awarded for each discipline result from the number of participating athletes. The first discipline is the stock saw. The fastest athlete will receive points equal to the total number of athletes competing, down to 1 point for the last place in each discipline. The second event is the standing block chop. Points remain the same, awarded based on times, and as with all events, any rule infraction will result in a disqualification, and the athlete will receive 0 points for that discipline. As the third discipline, every competitor will need to show their skill in the single buck. And in the underhand chop, it's the athlete's last chance to claim valuable points. The points from all disciplines are accumulated, and the athlete with the highest point total wins the competition.
Very well explained. Thank you very much, Troy. So we're going to start off with the women. We're going to start off with the stock saw, and everything you need to know about tool and discipline is coming up right now.
The STIHL MS661CM stock saw is used in STIHL Timbersports as the ultimate test of operator skill. Designed for the toughest jobs in forestry, it produces approximately 7.3 horsepower, has a displacement of 91.1 cc, and weighs 7.4 kilograms. To ensure evenly and fairly matched saws, professional steel technicians prepare and test the saws before each competition. Stock saw. After the starting shot, the contestants have to cut 2 wooden discs, so-called cookies, within a 10-centimeter mark, one downward and one upward. The attempt is only valid when both discs have been cut off completely and within the marks.
So we have 3 heats coming up, starting with Felicia Bank going all by herself.
That's rough.
Absolutely. In heat 2, Juliana Enfalter and Asa Nordberg. And in heat 3, finally, Tove Njastad and Iron Übing.
Yeah, we just saw Alrun run by the front of the studio here as she's heading up to the stage to cut her first pair of cookies. Now, we are going to go through all of these 3 groups, so it's going to be the women first, then the rookies, and the intermediates. They all cut stock saw, and then we'll switch the stage up for the next discipline. But right now, we're focusing on the work that they'll be doing on stage with that stock saw. Now, this saw that they're using is exactly the same saw that you can buy at your local steel dealership, and it's
You've
not
told me
been
so many times
at all.
And I still love it.
Yeah, yeah, it's great. And I mean, this is it's not a test of the machinery or anything. We know that the saw pretty much works flawlessly every single time. It's about the skill of the operator and whether or not the operator can hear the saw bogging down or hear the engine revving properly and what's happening on the with the machine, and also the amount of pressure they're placing on the saw. So we're going to see different different styles and different skills out there with this particular instrument in hand.
What about Felicia now having to go first and all by herself? Do you think that's an advantage, or does it make it even tougher?
Call right there, because being on stage by yourself, you don't have that adrenaline push of another athlete up there. Even though it's not about who wins the heat, it's about the time that you cut the 2 cookies in.
She seems relaxed, though.
It seems like, you know, it might be a little bit more pressure, but she seems to be, yeah, like you say, pretty relaxed about the situation. But she's done a lot of work with the steel saws anyway, so she's ready for this, I think, and it's going to be no problem for her. So just waiting for our, there we see.
Oh, Bad Jansen, yeah.
And, she should get the heads up. Okay, we've just been informed that his microphone is not connecting to the trailer, and he definitely needs that in order to be able to communicate with Competition Control Center as well as with our audience here on in front of the stage.
But
so
Anders' microphone is obviously working, so he's keeping everybody updated. But like you said, I mean, all those technical issues are very, very important for STIHL Timbersports, because sometimes we have slow motions really showing us precise moments of DQ or not DQ, and this all has to work. This all has to get together to make this sport as precise as it is.
That's what our technical leader, Schul Janssen, he'll be in competition control. And in our competition control, they have multiple screens, and I don't know if we'll get a picture of that later on at some point. If we do, great. If not, it's no big deal. But on stage, we also have not just our normal cameras for the show, but we do have multiple high-speed cameras on stage in order to be able to see did the athletes start too early? Were the athletes' hands in the right position on top of the block? We used to say hands on the wood, now it's stand to your timber. And there's a line on the top of the wood where the hands have to be on top of, and all the fingers, all the digits have to be over top of that line. So
and it's always like, wait for it, Marcus, and it's watched in slow motion. We can see it, and it's like millimeters, it's a thousandth of a second sometimes that make the big difference. Yeah?
Exactly, and so they'll be able to see really within 1,000th of a second on the pictures if they've moved before the gunshot or the starting go. So it's a huge, huge undertaking, and Jules Janssen and his crew in Competition Control Center, as well as our judges on stage, are making sure that everything is as fair as possible. And then, of course, the technicians taking care of the saws and all our camera guys and all that put together to bring you a really fair competition.
And that's why we're happy to wait, you know, no problem about that. By the way, we've got upcoming competitions on there as well for everybody to enjoy. As you can see, we're live now with the Nordic Pro Championship here in Steinkullen. A bit later today, we're going to see the pros. On the 4th of September, the German Pro Championship. 10th of September, the Swiss Pro Championship. European Nations Cup on the 11th.
That's going to be a good one. That's really fun.
Very much looking forward to that. And of course, on the 28th of October, Team World Championship, just around the corner here in Gothenburg. And on the 29th, for me, this is like the big climax at the end of the year, the individual World Championship here in Gothenburg.
And that's going to be a big one as it's hosted here, like you say, just around the corner in the city. And it's going to be a massive undertaking and a massive event. So it's going to be a lot of fun to see how it unfolds today, who's going to be going and joining the athletes that we already know from other countries that are going to be there at the World Championships at the end of our season. And then, you know, we go through Christmas time and New Year and start the whole thing all over again in the new year in February, March, and April.
Yes,
so
I'm very
it's
much
just a
looking forward to
non-stop
it.
thing for us, which is great.
Seen a lot of European athletes this year. I've not seen so many overseas athletes compete. So the World Championship is going to be very, very interesting. And I'm very much looking forward to that, just to see where's Europe, you know, where's the USA, Australia, New Zealand, you know, everything coming together. So
we did have a sneak preview in Vienna at the World Trophy of some of the international athletes. We do know there's some solid talent coming from the USA, from Canada, from Australia, New Zealand. We always expect Australia and New Zealand to be super solid, but it was really surprising how good they looked this year at the trophy. So it's going to be great at the individual World Championship as well.
Mark it in your calendar and get ready for the World Championship. As we're getting ready for the first heat.
All right,
we can
so
hear
I hear the saw being warmed up now on stage.
Oh, yeah.
She looks very relaxed.
Yeah, how about that?
No
for some extra pressure. Yeah, you're out by yourself. Technical issues. Oh, but now we're ready to rock.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1.
STIHL TIMBERSPORTS Nordic Championship. Off we go. There's the first cuts of the day.
All right, that's a really thin cookie, and it looks like she might have a cutout there, so the judges will look at that closely. And I mean, the idea, and she noticed it as well, so she's going for a third cookie. That's going to really hurt her time, but she cut out on the third cookie as well. You can see how massive that second cookie is, and already she's pointing it out to Bart Janssen, our head judge on stage there, and it looks like this may be a DQ. Let's see.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, that is a shame for Felixia Bank because she does have quite a lot of experience with the saw in hand, however, not in a competition format. So learning about this competition format is the main thing here in this case, and this is just an experience. And you can see if we get a slow-mo of that, that first cookie was incredibly thin. It was almost paper thin, and if she had a complete cookie there, that would have been a fantastic cookie because we always say thin to win, but that second cookie was just a massive beast, and you could see the angle on that log. It was just too much, and she cut out, and she just didn't have a clean third cut in order to be able to get that as a counting cut, so this is going to be a DQ for her. And our first DQ of the day, unfortunately, on our first heat of the day. It makes it a little bit difficult, but what a way to start.
So we've got two competitors coming on stage now, Juliana Einfalt and Asa Nordberg. As you mentioned already, Juliana from Austria, just being a guest here today, just enjoying the competition, getting herself into the groove.
So now we see these, both of these women have personal bests about just over 13 seconds. That's a really respectable time. If we've got Goodwood out there and if we've got some really good luck and maybe a bit of a melon, we might see some good times. The personal best is always nice to see broken because that means there's improvement happening along the way through the training. But Juliana Einfeld, a very solid competitor here. I have yet to see Åsa Nordberg, compete, so we'll see how she stands up against our Austrian competitor there.
And you're absolutely right. It's something different if you're used to the saw, but if suddenly a cameraman is focusing on you, if the crowd is looking at you, if you have to wait for some technical issue, that's competition.
It's a lot of pressure as well,
Wow.
if you think about it. You know, you've got the weight of your country on your shoulders.
Stand to your timber.
Here we go.
3, 2, 1, go!
All right, that's a nice solid start by both of our women on stage. You can see Juliana has a bit of an angle in her cut, so she's going to have to be careful on that upcut. Åsa, wow, she was a really slow first cut, but she's making sure she's solid with it, and that might be a personal best for Juliana Einfeld there. 13:21 is the unofficial time at the moment. Åsa Nordberg with 2 good cookies by the looks of it on deck, so we should have our first official good cuts and some times in the books.
And you're right, if that time is confirmed, that would be a personal best for Juliana. Look at the smile on her face.
She knows
yeah.
Yes, 13:06 for Juliana,
even
so a very
better.
nice
Wow.
improvement. A personal best for her. Åsa Nordberg off pace by 1.87 seconds, but I think, you know, under the circumstances, she can be allowed to have a little bit of the nervous butterflies going on in her stomach at the moment, but currently she's sitting in second place, just behind Juliana Einfeld, as we take a look back at the slow-mo ever so briefly, as we get ready to bring our next 2 athletes up on stage, as our stage crew prepares those blocks and gets ready to go. And Stock saw heat number 3 with Tove Njørstad and Alren Ubing.
By the way, Juliana's personal best used to be 13.94. Now we have 13.06, so that is quite an improvement.
It's a mega improvement, so that's fantastic.
Oh, and I just love the sound. I just love the sound of the saws.
For all you gas heads out there, this is the perfect event, and in the pros later on, we'll see the hot saw, which is also fantastic for all you motorcycle freaks or engine freaks out there, because those things are loud and fast and dangerous. Perfect.
I mean, we enjoy you watching us live on the stream, but you got to see and hear this live on stage. I can't describe it.
It's a different animal altogether.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not just the noise, it's everything you feel, all those vibrations and
and there is a fan base for STIHL TimberSports like you wouldn't believe. I mean, they are rabid, the fans for STIHL TimberSports.
Well, so are we.
Absolutely. But our rabidity is a little bit different. It's just old age and grumpiness. All right, there we see Alren Ubing. She's got the national record, actually, for stock saw. Her personal best, 9:06. Did I read that right? Yep, 9:60, 9.60. That's a very solid time. Just make sure that chain brake is off for Tove Njørstad. There we go. It's an important safety aspect for these saws to make sure that that chain stops immediately if something untoward happens.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Very nice start by Alren there. Tove also with a good start. She's got a nice clean cut going on. You can see she's a bit deeper with the motor of the saw. And it's a great transition to the upcut. Whoa, this is
How
a great
about
cut.
that?
Look at that cut by Tove. That is a fantastic cut and a huge improvement for her. 12:15 and a personal best.
And it has even been corrected down to 11.99, under 12 seconds. Can you dig it?
Yeah, I mean, that's great. Going from her previous personal best of 12.26 to an 11.99, that's amazing.
And that, of course, puts her into first place.
Yep. So there we go. Personal best for Tove as well as for Juliana Einfeld. And Alrun Ubing currently sitting in second place, so she's in good stand at the moment to be able to make some moves in there. Unfortunately for Felixia Bank, she got that DQ, but she has 2 more opportunities to come back and gain more points, so she's not out just yet. Let's not count her out.
Definitely not. We've seen 5 athletes, 2 personal bests.
Yep.
That's what I call a start into the competition.
That's a good start right there. The only thing that would have made it a little bit better is if all of the athletes had complete cookies, and unfortunately, like we said off the top, that first DQ is, you know, it's a bit of a kick in the teeth, but now we're moving on to the stock saw for our rookies.
Indeed we are. So we're going to start with Heat 1, and of course we're going to see Axel Björk and Anton Lindberg in a Swedish heat, Espen Pedersen and Robin Konicek in heat number 2, Adam Björns and Edvin Berglund in heat 3, again 2 Swedish athletes competing. Then we move on to Lucas Wagesreiter and Albin Nielsen in heat 4. In heat 5 we're going to see Bo Andersen compete
all by himself.
And in the final heats, again, 2 Swedes, Johan Staff and Edvin Karlsson. And we're ready for heat number 1.
Yep. And I had Anders came over to me earlier and he says, yeah, Axel Björk, his last name actually means birch. So it's perfect, right?
Yes.
All right. Oh, it looks like we've got some different names on our... yeah. That is not what our list says there. I don't believe that's Edvin Berglund, so I'm hoping that our list is correct, and we'll see. All right, so nevertheless, on stage, ready for the first heat. So based on our starting order here, we should have Axel Björk in stand 1 on the left-hand side of your stage and Anton Lindberg on stand 2 on the right-hand side, as these athletes standing tall on their blocks getting ready to cut.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
That is a massive thick cookie for the first cut on Axel Björk's side. And struggling on that upcut. Wow,
that's
that
a close
was
finish.
One, and
that is a close finish.
It's a very thin finish on the top of the right-hand side there for Anton Lindberg, I believe. We're going to clarify the names for you in just a second, but we've got a really thin cookie, and it might even be an incomplete disc, as the judges will take a close look at it. There it is. And that's a problem right there.
I hate to see that.
Yeah. So it was in fact Axel Björk who had the full pull and a personal best of 12.67. Anton Lindberg with a disqualification because of an incomplete disc. And this is where you see the skill level, and the operator's skill and experience above all is really playing a huge role here as being able to line up that saw. And we were at the Rookie Academy earlier on in the year, and we saw Hans-Ove Hansen, who is an expert in this discipline, teaching the guys how to line up the saw by lining it up with their nose and not stepping back and stepping in as they make their cut adjustments, because that changes the angle of the saw. So all of these different things, I get all active when I'm trying to explain this stuff.
But that's how it
all
works.
of these things play a huge role in how well you cut and how clean your cookies are.
And we've just seen a personal best from Axel Björk.
That's always good.
Well done, mate.
All right, next up we have Ebsen Petersen and Robin Konicek. Robin Konicek is a premium athlete when it comes to stock saw. So let's see if he can keep that level up here against a Norwegian in Espen Petersen. You can see some very good personal best by both of these guys here. And we know that Robin's been working on this discipline quite a lot in order to improve. Espen Petersen, personal best of 11.54. Robin Konicek with a personal best of 11.81.
So Danish Dynamite versus Austrian Power. And this could be a really close one.
And you can see how quickly and easily those saws start up, get them warmed up, get them running. Leaving them running for the stock saw, and you can see these specially designed pads on the ground so that the saws don't dance away on them.
3, 2, 1,
Look
go!
at the power. Oh, that's a great start by Pedersen.
Really nice start. Peterson's got a nice first cut by the looks of it. Oh, barely any transition at all. Now, there's a huge knot part in that block by Robin Konecek. Now, they might look at that and they'll have to adjust for the fact that there's that big knot there and allow him for that to make sure that he's got a complete cookie. And it looks like they're actually going to take that into consideration. It'll be okay.
Yeah, I would guess so. But let's wait for Bart Jansen.
Yeah, they saw that.
Yeah.
No problem. So good run by both of these guys, 12:44 and a 12:47. Robin Konecek, the fastest cut so far today with a 12:44. So that puts him at the moment at the top of the rankings for stock saw, just ahead of Espen Petersen and then Axel Björk and Anton Lindberg. But we still do have quite a few athletes to go in this discipline. Coming up next, we have Adam Björns and Edvin Berglund coming up.
So just like you mentioned, still quite a number of athletes still to come, but I think that was a great start for the rookies, and we can already see where we're heading to.
Yep. 11 rookies in the competition today. We've got 4 done and dusted, so we've got a few more to go. So, and this is the beauty. We're in the first round, so there's still a lot of action still to come. These guys still have a few more rounds to go, so these positions will switch, they'll alter, they'll change as the points are gained through each one. And just to remind you folks, the head-to-head battles that you see on stage is not about who wins that particular heat, it's about who has the fastest heat. So you could be in heat number 5 with the fastest time alone and be at the top of the leaderboard, and or be, you know, in heat number 1 with the slowest time and have won that heat, or the second slowest time and won that heat.
A lot of maths going on, but don't worry, we'll keep you updated.
It's getting confusing now. I'm just talking myself into a hole. All right, so up on stage.
I'm with you, Troy, totally.
Adam Björns and Edvin Berglund.
Oh, look at that. Precision. That's what it's all about, just like you mentioned.
Yeah, and this is one of those things that is very helpful for these athletes to be able to really make sure that they're lining their cuts up properly.
And those personal bests, by the way, they're exactly the same, 12.44.
Okay, gentlemen. Warm up yourself.
Nah, that's what we need for the lead.
For lead. Sorry. yeah, you're right.
I read that too and I was like, wait,
wow,
that's cool.
Yeah. But it is still cool, but go for it.
Yeah, Edvin Berglund, who is on the right-hand side of your stage, has a personal best of 14:19. Adam is a little bit better with a 12:30, but that doesn't mean anything once you're in the action.
Go!
Adam Björns with a nice start. His first cut, you can see very deep with the motor. The transition for Berglund was a big swing down and aligning the thing up to make sure he's really clean. And both of them look like they have clean cuts there, nothing over the line, no cutouts, solid cookies on the deck. So let's see what our judge says at the end of the day.
And that would be the best cut of the day so far.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, both cuts are good.
Lovely.
All right, so Adam Björns with an 11:91, a solid cut for him. And Berglund as well, Edvin Berglund getting a nice personal best time of 14:16, and again we see the improvement, although it's not as fast as the faster times here today. It's an improvement, so that's a step in the right direction, and Adam Björns takes over the ranking in the stock saw so far for our rookies. And there you see Adam up top with Robin in second and Peterson in third place for the moment. But like I said, there's a lot of things that are going to change here.
So the crowd is happy. We've got a Swede up on the top, but some real tough competitors still to come.
Yes.
Lucas Wagersreiter going to be in the next heat, and
heat
of course
number 4 with Albin Nielsen.
Oh yeah, and Staffan Carlsen also still to come. So.
Yeah. So we've got a lot of action still to come your way with a lot of different athletes from around the world here. So that's something else that we're big on with STIHL Timbersports, isn't it?
Totally. A lot of love, a lot of tolerance, and they're all in it, all together.
medan vi ligger kvar. Sen beredningen och förinfästningen i respektive ställ gör atleten själv.
I'm not sure if you guys were able to hear that, but
I don't know either. We didn't hear it, but hopefully you did.
some really nice words.
Yep, very important aspect in today's world that, you know, we just work with each other, we support each other, because the way things are going out there, we need each other's help as much as possible these days, so
Tough
tolerance is always
competitors,
important.
but great friends.
Correct. All right, next heat coming up, we're going to have Lukas Fagersreiter and Albin Nielsen. Now, we've seen Lukas doing great things in his career so far, and he's making that next step. He did say to you that he wants to move on to the next level quickly.
Absolutely, yeah. And I'm pretty sure that's going to be the last season we're going to see him compete as a rookie, because he wants to turn pro. And when Lukas gets this into his head, he's the kind of guy, he's going to do it.
Yeah,
you know,
he's going to fight for it.
Nothing is going to stop him. I'm absolutely sure. So today is going to be very interesting to see how good is he on the top rookie level, and how far away or how close is he to get to be one of the pros. So today, I think for Lukas, and that's the reason why he came to Sweden as an Austrian, to see and to find out where he is on his way to the professional status.
Yeah, I mean, it's every chance to compete, every chance to see how you rank against other athletes is always an opportunity where you can say, I maybe need one more season here at the rookie level, or yeah, I think I can jump up to the next level, right? You know, if you could see that you're just way miles ahead of the other guys in this group, then okay, maybe it's time for you to step away and let others step into that position, and then try and cut your teeth at the pro level. But Lukas is definitely there. I mean, his skill level is right up there with the best in Austria. He's got some of the best in Austria as mentors. So we're going to see good things from Lukas in the next little while, because he is a compact, solid, and very motivated competitor.
And we're back on stage. We're ready for the next heat. And the man we just talked about is on the left-hand side. And of course, the man he's competing against, Albin Nielsen. Don't underestimate this guy. So personal best for Lukas is 10.68. For Albin Nielsen, it's 12.23. The top time so far in this competition by Adam Björns is 11.91. So we might just now see a change on the leaderboards, but he still needs to cut. And we're ready to go. So there's the whistle.
Okay, gentlemen, warm up yourself.
This is a practice move from Lukas as well, just to make sure that he's got his alignment exactly right. He knows exactly where he needs that saw, where he wants that saw.
Ready.
Here we go.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Very tentative start by both athletes. Lukas, ooh, he's got a thin cut on the up. I'm not sure if he's aware that he's cut out on that. No, he's not aware, and that's going to be a DQ for him. He thinks he's got a good time, but I don't think he's seen that second cookie as a cutout, and that's going to cost him. It's going to be a DQ, and he just seen it now. He could have gone back and done a third cut, but he didn't notice it because it was on the other side.
He was so happy with the time.
Gentlemen, stand
Oh,
two.
look at him shaking his head.
Stand one.
Understandably.
Was happy, but unfortunately, DQ, incomplete disc.
That is unfortunate for Lukas, because we know he's so solid in this discipline. It was just a small problem right off the hop for him. So let's take a look here. There.
These are the competitions you need. These
Yes.
are exactly the things that make the difference between a rookie and a pro.
Yep.
At the end of the day, because the time would have been awesome.
Yes, it would have been great. Unfortunately for him, he cut out. And Nielsen with a 13.50, 1.59 seconds off pace, sitting there in 5th place in stock saw at the moment. All right, so an unfortunate situation for Lucas there as we talked him up so crazy, but it happens, it's competition, and his thing is he always wants to try and get that thin first cookie to make the cut clean, and unfortunately it cost him and he didn't notice it as we see our next athlete ready to go. Bo Anderson getting ready to go on stage. He looks so mean there, but he's such a nice
But wait
kid.
for the smile. Oh, no, smile is
No
gone.
smile now, he's concentrated.
And honestly, I'd rather be on stage with another competitor. I have to be honest.
Yeah.
It's so difficult all by yourself, having that big scenery. I mean, you've got that massive TV screen behind you. You've got camera people running around you. You've got the crowd watching you, and you're out there all by yourself. And you know they're focusing on you, not on the other one as well. You couldn't say that share the intention. No.
Even though you're competing against the clock, regardless of whether you're on stage up there alone or with another athlete, having the other athlete on stage makes it a little bit less about the clock and more about the guy that's in front of you. At the end of the day, though, you have to cut your cut and not anybody else's cut. So, yeah, I agree with you. I would rather be on stage with other athletes, but if the chance is there for me to try and improve, I'll take it every time, no matter how.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Ooh, quick cut, getting in there right fast, quick in a hurry to get that saw placed. Oh, he's got a bit of a cut out there, but he noticed it quickly. Resets the saw for the upcut. He's a bit slow, struggling to try and find the right balance of pressure to not bog that motor down, but it looks like he corrected in time, so he's got a slow time, but he should have 2 complete discs. But did he go outside the line?
I'm sure we're going to find out in just a
Okay, ladies and
second.
gentlemen, the cut's good.
Oh, well done.
Relief!
Yes.
So Bo Anderson.
Not just for Bo, but for us as
Yeah,
well.
for us as well, right? We never like to see the guys get DQ'd. Come on. All right, so let's see if we can see a slow-mo on that one and what happened there on the upcut. He was very quick on his transition from down to up, and that's what happened. He was just a little bit too imprecise.
But what I don't understand, he was so fast to react. That was great.
Yep.
And he still got stuck on his way up.
Yeah, I think he was putting a bit too much pressure. You'll see sometimes the athletes really leaning into the saw like this. And if you're not familiar with the machine, if you're not familiar with the way that it sounds when it's bogging down, you might not realize what's happening. The chain slows down and then you get close to stalling the saw. So that's a problem.
Oh, wow, look at the personal best from Staffan Carlsen.
Oh, yes. Edvin Carlsen is very solid in this discipline. In fact, I think, now don't quote me on this, but I think he might have actually had, for a very short time, the rookie world record in this discipline. Not 100% sure, and I'll have to double check that, but he's a very solid sawyer with this stock saw in hand.
Okay, gentlemen, warm up your saw.
Oh, talk about determination.
Yes. Johan Staff as well. I mean, you see his personal best time is pretty solid, 10:62. So
Athletes ready.
Stand to
Yeah,
your
this is the
timber.
Nordic Championship. You're
3,
competing at
2,
home.
1, go!
Whew.
great start
Oh,
by
yes.
Johan Staff
Wow.
and Edvin Carlsen. Look at the difference in styles, though. Edvin Carlsen barely moving his body at all. That
but
transition to
look
the
at
upcut
Costco.
was fantastic.
Wow.
Wow, great time by both of them. Not personal best by any stretch of the imagination, and Edvin seems a little bit disappointed with that, actually. But I think we have good cookies all around. Let's hope so, at least. Uh-oh, looks like we may have a cut line.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, stand 1. Okay, stand 2. DQ, cut the line.
That's a shame.
And Carlsen knew it. I think
Yeah.
that's what he was putting his hands on his head about, because he realized he cut over the line on the transition to the upcut. He was so fast, but he was so fast he got way too far over.
It would have been the best time of the day so far.
Yeah, it would have been, definitely. Unfortunately for him, it didn't work out. But Adam Björns, at the moment, at the top of the leaderboard with an 11.91. Johan Staff, who just cut, sitting in second place with a 12.02. So far, so good, except for a couple of DQs. We're having a good competition here today, and it's going to just continue to improve as we move on to the next disciplines. Before that, though, we have to do the intermediates.
Yep.
So we're sticking with the stock saw, and there we see our lineup and the DQs at the bottom cut over the line and 2 incomplete cookies there.
So Björns and Staff, 2 Swedish athletes right on top, receiving 11 and 10 points.
And Robin Konacek right there in the top 3 in stock saw for the rookie so far, so good results for him. He's got a chance to make some improvements here.
Women's rookies over to the intermediates. Let's take a look at the start list.
All right, not as many in the intermediates, and we're going to see Gavers on stage. Bart Gavers up there all by his lonesome. Huh?
What's happening? And of course, we've got Johan Segerstedt and Kim Volke in heat number 2. Klaus Magnus Halvorsen against Peter Eriksson in heat number 3. And then finally heat number 4 with Emil Svensson and Victor Klarmo. So those intermediates, to me, are going to be the most interesting thing to see today, because I hardly know any of the athletes because they have only joined. Their age maybe gives them some extra strength, some extra athleticism. And yeah, let's watch out what Bart Gavers is able to do with a personal best of 10.61.
Yeah, the world record isn't far off either.
I was just going to say.
He's close at the intermediate world record at 10:34. So it is 10:34, correct? So yeah, Bart Gavers on stage all by himself and getting ready for the stock saw cut. And given that the world record is that close to his time, you know, if he has a good cut today, he may be able to celebrate in a big way.
Well, fingers crossed.
Athlete ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Really good opportunity for you to hear that saw as well. Oh, and it bogged down a bit too much. That chain stalled, and that's exactly what I was talking about. Applying too much pressure can cause problems, and that did cause some problems. The chain stopped, but he managed to get it started again and continue the cut. Looks like everything will be okay for him.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, good.
Yeah, and I think that's the way you want to start into the competition. You just don't want to get a DQ right at the first discipline. And
there it is, that chain stop. The problem is that you want to start into the competition and not have the DQ, but you also want to get into the competition with a good time. So, you know, it's that balancing act between, do I really go for it, or I play it safe here and make sure I've got some points?
And we've got different characters like in any other sport. You know, some say, oh, I don't care, I'm just going to go for it. The others will say, okay, let's start slowly into the competition. And we've seen both strategies work out.
Yeah, and we've seen both strategies kick the guys in the butt a little bit as well, you know?
Absolutely, yeah.
All right, next heat coming up.
Johan against Kim.
Johan Segerstedt, personal best of 12:17. Kim Volke a little bit better on the personal best with an 11:32. So right now the time to beat for the lead is 12.43 seconds, set by Bart Gavers. Let's see how these two guys line up against each other.
I think this is the moment where you feel everything gets so much more quiet than the rest of the day.
Warm up your saw.
Just before the warming up of the saws, it's one of my favorite moments.
You can see that pile of sawdust that starts to accumulate as the day goes by in the battery.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Very nice start there by Johan Segerstedt, who we are looking at. There is Kim Volke, his angle. Oh, big swing on the transition to the upcut for Kim. And Johan Segerstedt with a solid 12:37. Kim, by virtue of that huge swing, has a slower time of 14.30. And that's really hard, you know. When you come out of the bottom of that block, the weight of the saw as well as the pressure that you're applying to it, if you don't have absolute control to transition to the upcut, that can happen and you can swing away.
My favorite sentence from Bart Janssen, by the way, both cuts are good, yeah. Puts a smile on everybody's face. We've seen 3 athletes so far. And Sigurstedt puts himself up into the lead.
Yeah, good job by him. Just ahead by 20 tenths of a second. Or 2 tenths of a second, I would say. 2 tenths of a second.
Yep. I'm
Not a
with you.
math guy.
Absolutely
But
correct.
I mentioned that sawdust that was in the background. There's huge piles of it. There's all this extra wood, and a lot of people might be asking, well, what the heck? You guys are just being completely wasteful and everything. This
No,
is all
we are
sustainably
not.
grown wood. This is all very well controlled how this is used in the end of the day. We'll have more about that a little bit later on in our show so that you understand exactly what's going on with the wood that's used here. But before that, we've got lots of action coming your way with Klaus Magnus Halvorsen from Norway going up against Peter Eriksson.
100 Ks on 1.89 meters. Strong guy.
He's a big boy. Also with a good personal best time of 11:27.
Oh, the way he looks at that wood.
He hates it.
Okay, gentlemen, warm up your saw. Athletes, ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Very nice start by both of these guys. Nice and even by that first cut by the looks of it. Halvorsen's a little bit quicker. The transition to the upcut. Oh, that is thin to win. He's got to be careful here. That is a fantastic upcut by Halvorsen. The time's still running for him and finally stops with an 11.96 and 11.76. Both of them very good times. But that second cookie was unbelievably thin for Halvorsen. I've never seen a cookie that thin that's been clean.
But it didn't have much space left because the first cookie was so thick.
It was,
Okay,
man.
ladies and gentlemen, both guys are good.
Oh, yes.
And he had a heavy angle. If you could just barely see it, almost looks like a wedge to stop a truck. So that angle can be problematic if you're not careful. But that second cookie of his was fantastically thin.
Oh, we're getting this slower. Maybe look at the size of that cookie.
That is a beast.
Woo.
Add some chocolate chips and you've got a Granny Smith going down. All right, so Eriksson and Halvorsen, nice. That's,
Changes.
Halvorsen was a good second cut. They say thin to win, and a lot of people are like, well, what? Thin to win?
You
What does
always
that
say
mean?
that, yeah.
I say it, but a lot of people say it, and the reason behind that is because the thinner the cookie is, there's less material to drag on the chain or on the single buck saw, for instance. So
sounds
the thinner
sensible.
you can make that cookie, but still keeping it a safe, clean cut, the better it's going to be because it's not binding so much on your instrument.
So that's our final heat in the intermediate competition.
Victor Klarmo with the national record for stock saw with a great 10.71.
That's
Okay, gentlemen,
impressive.
warm up your saw.
Did I read that right? Because his personal best says 14.08 on my screen, so I might have that wrong. The personal best for Emil Svensson is a 10.71, and that's the national record. So Emil Svensson should be our national record holder. Let's see how they do here.
Athletes, ready.
Gotta be careful with that
Stand
hand.
to your
There we go.
My
timber.
statistics confirm
3,
that. Yes, Emil
2,
Svensson with
1,
a personal best
go.
of 10.71.
Nice start by both of these gentlemen.
Oh, that's a very precise cut.
That's a good cookie too. Nice
Oh.
transition by Svensson on the upcut. The transition was fantastic. Oh, how close was that? But it's
Oh,
Victor
no.
Klarmo with just
What?
a hair faster.
I didn't see that coming.
That was quick. He's got two big cookies as well. Look at that.
And if his personal best was 14.08,
But
how about that with an 11.08?
I think he might have cut over the line because I seem to have seen line on the cookie. So we'll see what Bart says here.
Oh, no.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, stand 1. Okay, stand 2. DQ,
Oh, dear.
cut the line.
That's too bad because
There
it
would
was
have
a
been a
great cut.
3-second improvement to his
Yeah.
personal best. Are you kidding me? Oh,
All right.
no.
That is unfortunate, but I saw the disc lying on the floor there, and there's that blue line on the disc, and I was like, oh no, that's going to be a problem for him. So Emil Svensson with a great time at the top with an 11.18, takes over the lead in stock saw, and with Eriksson right behind him with an 11.77, and Halvorsen from Norway with an 11.85. So those times are really close together among the top three.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, very good. All right.
I feel really sorry for Klarmer. I mean, get a personal best, you know, advance 3 seconds on the stock. So I've not seen anything like this. This would have been a fantastic gap, and then you just cut over the line.
Yeah, it was a massive cut, too.
That's
for
how
both
close
of them.
it can be, you know, just being euphoric and just having achieved something really big.
He jumped out of the top of that block as well. I was like springing up and down.
I was also
here
jumping
as well.
like, yeah, well done, man. And no.
Too bad for him, though.
But he's still got time. And talking about time, it is the original extreme sport. There's a lot of history with STIHL Timbersports, and we might just use the time and take a closer look at these historic moments. Enjoy.
Expert woodsman who can cut down a tree more easily than most people can chop one up. When it really comes to tackling large lumps, you can't beat the men of the forestry companies.
An axeman's gathering.
How about for some historic moments? Really nice to see, huh?
The original extreme sport, and mixing it up in a big way here. And the action continues now with the standing block chop.
That's one of my favorite disciplines.
Yep. One of the hardest to really master and become good at as well.
And that is one of the reasons that we're only going to see the rookies and the intermediates competing in this discipline.
Yeah, unfortunately, no women competing in this one here, although they do compete in other parts of the world with the standing block chop. There's a lot of stuff that goes on to making the decision behind whether or not they do it, and it has to do with whether or not the level of skill is there for every competitor. So they want to try and make it fair, and that's one of the reasons why. But we're not going to harp on that. We're going to focus on the fact that we're jumping into the rookies with the standing block chop.
The axes used in timber sports definitely can't be bought at your local hardware store. Made from special steel, the blade is hand-sanded with an angle of 13 to 16 degrees. It's custom built and carefully adjusted for each competition. The weight is around 3 kilos and it's about 80 centimeters long. The blade is so sharp that you could shave with it. Standing block chop. At the standing block chop, the felling of a tree with an axe is simulated. A vertically positioned wooden block with a diameter of 27 centimeters has to be cut through from both sides. A powerful and precise swing with the axe is the premise of a good result.
So we're ready for the rookies.
Yep.
11 competitors, 6 heats, and we're just going to take a closer look. Who's going to be in heat number 1? Well, it's going to be Axel Björk versus Anton Lindberg. Then we'll see Espen Pedersen against Robin Konicek. In heat number 3, Adam Björns and Edvin Berglund. Heat 4 will consist of Lukas Wagesreiter and Albin Nilsson. In heat 5, it will be Bo Andersen all by himself. And finally, in heat 6, we're going to get to see Johan Staff and Edvin Karlsson.
And this will be a chance for Edvin Karlsson and Anton Lindberg to be able to kind of make up for the DQs that they had in the stock saw, along with Lukas Wagesreiter, which was a bit of a surprise for me because he's normally very solid in this discipline. So, yeah, standing block chop will be the redemption run for a couple of these guys here. And you'll see very shortly exactly why this discipline is very, very difficult to become very good at.
And the world record stands at 11.9 seconds just
For a rookie, unbelievable.
Just so we said that. Yeah, very difficult discipline, great to watch, and it's like the original thing. That's what I like about it. You know, that this is what you imagine is happening. Yeah,
this is what it's
Go
all
down,
about.
boom,
You
take
cut
the
down
axe.
a tree with an axe like this.
As simple as that. And maybe you can already hear the noise. Things are getting hard and heavy on stage.
They're just setting up the tops of the blocks to make sure everything is solid on stage. Once we've seen our first couple of heats, we'll also
I can't hear you,
come
it's
back
too loud.
come back to the studio and we'll explain a little bit about why this discipline is so hard to become good at because of the angle of the axe and the danger that's involved with this here. But first things first, let's get our first heat underway, and then we can talk a little bit about what the nuances of this particular discipline are really all about. So Axel Björk will be going up against Albin Nielsen in that first heat. We're just waiting for our guys on stage, our judges and the stage crew to say, okay, we're ready to go.
And I just heard the signal.
Yep.
They are on the way. Let's take a closer look at the two athletes.
And as you mentioned, that world record of 11.90 seconds, I mean, that is just unbelievable
It's
for this
crazy.
discipline.
No, it is crazy. So we talked about the chainsaw, Troy, that you can buy at the local dealer. These axes, I am not sure.
Athletes ready.
These are actually
Stand
called
to your
racing
timber.
axes.
3, 2,
And we're going
1,
to find out
go!
why they call them racing axes right now.
All right, so you can see Nielsen right there. He is using a lot of his upper body and his arm strength in order to try and make those first cuts. You can see he's hardly twisting his hips at all, and the angle of the axe is also really, really flat. And what you'll see later on is when the really, really experienced axe men and women are working with these axes, they're going from at the floor level and they're swinging from way down low at a sharper angle, and that makes the cuts go in deeper and more solid. Right now you're seeing Nielsen, he got that axe caught in there pretty deeply. Now they do have to cut from both sides, so they'll go medium level deep on this first side, and then they'll move over to the other side, which we've seen Nielsen do over on the far side of the stage there. Or excuse me, Björk on the other side of the stage is starting to cut on his side. But you can see he's barely pushing off of that back foot, and you can draw a lot of power through the core of your body from that back foot onto that block when you're really trying to throw some drivers. It's almost like he's having a Sunday drive with this block at the moment. It's not going to bode well for him as well. The time is an issue. If it goes too far and they go beyond the time allowed to make the cut, there will be a DQ for time out, and it's getting close to that now.
And this is the time where it starts hurting. This is so exhausting.
Yep, DQ, time limit exceeded, 1 minute 30 seconds. They should be or are expected to be able to make these cuts in that time. They'll let them continue the cuts as long as the judges see that the guys are not being unsafe because they're too tired. And what we did see there is Axel Björk did cut the top off of his block. Lindberg, unfortunately, just didn't get there. Excuse me, Albin Nielsen just didn't get there.
Both DQ, out of time.
Both of them are DQ'd for being out of time. So as I mentioned, this is a very, very difficult discipline to become very good at and adept because of the angle that the guys are cutting at. If you cut in straight, it's going to take you forever to try and get through that block, and you're not cutting so those big
and you showed me
slabs
before
that come
coming out of the knees.
And if you come way down deep and drive up through the block, because the first cut needs to be from underneath. And you could see it was almost like the guys weren't getting the power and they were just sort of tapping at it with their axe a little bit.
And then you
know?
just tire out.
This is something that's going to come with time. It's just about time. It's just about learning. And we'll see the differences as more experienced athletes come on stage and you start to see them throwing real drivers into that block. So Anton Lindberg going up against Espen Petersen.
Okay. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
All right, you can already see right away Espen Petersen stepping well back on that right foot of his to make sure that he's pushing drivers into that block as much as possible. Lindberg, still young and still inexperienced in this discipline, standing very close to the block with that back leg and isn't putting as much into the power. As you can see, Espen Petersen's already moved over to the other side. Now, he's putting a lot of weight into those drivers. He's also getting the axe stuck in there because the angle isn't as deep as it could be, but his level of experience is obviously much more. And here we're going to see a great time and a personal best by Espen Petersen with a 33.20. Very good time for him. That is a fantastic finishing cut.
You know, his personal best used to be 50.26. He just got a 33.2.
That's an incredible improvement.
Wow.
Another thing that you can see here is look at all the different cut angles and the choppy positions in there. That also will go away with time as you see the more accurate hits being right on top of each other and more clean lines into the block to make sure that you're getting the most efficient cut and the most wood being cut out of each of those drivers that you put into the block here. Now he's got 15 seconds to get through there. The question is, can he do it? He's under pressure now as 6 more seconds is going to pass by, and you can see he's barely stepping off of that back foot. He's just using his arms and shoulders to swing the axe, and again, this is something that's going to come with time and experience. And there we see the young man DQ'd because of time limit exceeded. But let's talk about Espen Petersen there with a great time of 32.96.
For Denmark, it was okay. And unfortunately,
98,
stands 1 DQ out of time.
So that's the ranking so far. 11 points for Pedersen with a personal best, and then we have 3 DQs.
So you can see the distinct difference between the skill levels here and the experience levels. I don't want to say skill because all of these athletes are quite skilled, but experience plays a huge role here. And you can see Espen Petersen, when he set up to make that first driver, he put his right leg well back.
Yeah, he said it right away.
You know, and he was really coming from way out here to try and make that first driver into the block.
And talk about personal improvement. I mean, Pedersen, he just showed us what is possible.
Exactly.
And I think that's exactly the reason why they invented the Rookie Academy. And all you need to know about the Rookie Academy, well, we'll show you.
Wir sind hier für die Rookie Academy, um uns auf die Saison vorzubereiten mit den besten Rookies aus Europa und internationalen Trainern, um unsere Fähigkeiten zu verbessern und fit zu werden für die Saison.
Getting together with all the other European athletes and getting better together. For me, it's a great training camp.
For me, the Rookie Academy is very important because we can confront each other.
I'm totally delighted with the progress. The level is just climbing and climbing and climbing. What's remarkable is the dedication that these young guys have put in to the training programs, and that's what the Rookie Academy is about. It's about bringing those young fellas forward. A lot of the older pro competitors really need to be up in their game now because these guys have got everything on their side. Youth, speed, power, and they've grown into young professionals.
Love
so
that.
a couple
Love
of the
that.
guys that actually went through the rookie academy and managed to do well in the rookie rankings have now moved up into the pro rankings. We will no longer see Olli Reinhardt from Switzerland or Marcel Steinkemper from Germany competing as rookies. They've jumped up to the pro levels.
And of course, that's the goal of all our rookies. I'm sure Edwin Berglund and Johann Staff want to reach that goal as well. They can show us what they're up to right now.
Edwin Berglund there has logged in a personal best just over 1 minute and 10 seconds, so 1:11 and change. Johann Staff, on the other hand, he's got a pretty good personal best time of 36:19. So experience is playing a huge role
ready.
here.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Now you could see there Johann Staff started his backswing on the 3-2-1 go count, but didn't actually impact the wood until the go. So that was an advantage of about maybe 1/10 of a second, but every 1/10 of a second makes a huge difference in these competitions. And Johann Staff, Johann Staff, that was that did that. Edwin Berglund is on the other side. He's also putting in some big drivers there. Let's see how these dudes do against each other. And it's looking good with some nice big hits, and both of them moving over to the other side. Again, stepping off of that back leg, putting the power into those drivers towards the block. Nice big slab coming off for Johann Staff there. And I think we might even see a personal best time for Edwin Berglund if he can get through here. He's getting a bit of a couple of flat cuts, so he needs to change that angle. And he's really twisting his head heavily to try and put that axe in there, but he's pushing off the back leg, and you can see the skill level and the experience is definitely coming along. And both of these guys struggling with that block at the moment. Johann Staff on the right-hand side, Edwin Berglund with a big stick on the left-hand side there.
So the big goal now is to be under 1 minute and 30 seconds to
go.
get yourself into the ranks, and Berglund has done so.
So Berglund staying consistent. He's around the 1:12 mark there. His previous best time was 1:11 or 1:12.25. So
almost the same, yeah.
Pretty much the same. Johann Staff, however, is disqualified here. That's unfortunate because it just needed 1 or 2 more extra drivers. And well, he wasn't feeling it today, obviously, because his personal best is a 36:19. So really not his day.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, stand 1 is good. Stand 2, unfortunately, 3 seconds. Out of time. DQ.
Edwin Berglund breathing heavy there. And that tells you exactly how much is going on when these guys are swinging the axe.
Terribly exhausting, terribly exhausting.
So Pedersen still holding on to the top. Edwin Berglund is the only other guy with a logged-in time. Everybody else has had time limit exceeded DQs, unfortunately.
So that, considering Lukas Wagesreiter had a DQ in the first discipline, will give him a great chance to move back into the competitive area to get back up on top of the list.
Correct. So now we have 3 more heats. This next heat will be Adam Björns all on his own on stage. In this particular discipline, I would say it's harder to be on stage alone because there is no one pushing you along.
Like mentioned before, I wouldn't want to do it. So here he comes. Adam Björns.
45-10 though, that's not
too bad.
Anything too bad. Under the circumstances, if he can keep that consistency, then he'll be in 2nd place. Let's see how he sets himself up here, and right away we'll know. Yes, stepping back with a nice wide stance to try and put as much power into those drivers as possible. And you can see the markings on the block.
I was just going to say, what about all those markings? Who put them on
ready.
there?
They put those on there in order to help them guide the drivers in.
3,
Here we go.
Yeah, but
2,
was it Björns
1,
himself?
Go!
A little bit of a delay there on the go, and you can see a couple of nice accurate hits on the first one, but now it's just about trying to get the power in there. A little skip out of the block, and that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about, is if you don't have the right angle and that axe skips away, it can really get away from you and be dangerous. So that's one of the reasons why this discipline is so difficult to become very good at and very adept at. But he's got some nice drivers. His drivers from up high are looking good. What he needs to work on is bringing the drivers from down low to really get that cut from down below, clean and
powerful. Do you
powerful.
feel that this is also a weight issue? That, you know, those blows from underneath, if you can, I don't know, if you have 10, 20 Ks more than this guy has, or do you think it doesn't matter?
No, because you look at some of the best Swedish cutters, Ferry Swan, he's not a heavy guy, but he's powerful, and he's got a lot of power in his legs, and that's where you can really work that axe and try and drive it from down low, pushing off of that back leg, which is why it's so important to have that solid back foot position. And Björn's with a nice time of 1:02 and change. Unfortunately, not his personal best, but that's going to put him in second place at the moment with hopefully no DQ for anything untoward here.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, good, good.
All right, so there we see the ranking. Not really much of a change other than Björn's and Berglund's. Björn slipping into second place, pushing Berglund down into third place. And right now, if the competition ends, there's your podium. Nicely done. Congratulations, guys, because there's so many DQs in this one. But unfortunately, there's going to be some more changes in the overall ranking as we move into the next disciplines. Yeah, for the moment, Pedersen with a very, very good time of 32.98, sitting on the top of the standing block chop rankings.
And of course, the Rookie World Championships 2022, they were not only interesting for us to watch, but they also set the standard for everybody that is going on stage today.
That's correct. And there was a world record set at the Rookie World Championships as well.
Shall we
say
take a closer look at that?
Fast.
Yeah, I won't. I'll just take a look.
Welcome to the STIHL Timbersports Rookie International World Championship.
Right away, he gets in there with two nice big accurate strikes on that one side. That was a blistering set of heats from these two guys. Unbelievable.
We're going to go to the next badass discipline. That is the stock saw.
The side of his block, 4-stroke. Holy moly!
Simon Grunwald has broken the world record here in Austria. Fantastic stuff.
Wow.
Also Timbersport ist einfach ein super geiler Sport, den ich sehr, sehr gerne mache.
You can't deny the quality of this kid. Oh, wow!
New Rookie World Champion from Australia. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for Mr. Jack Argent!
So Jack Argent may, exactly. Jack Argent may be the Rookie World Champion, but Simon Grunwald is the man who set the world record for the discipline that we're seeing on stage here right now. And we can see the talent worldwide is definitely there when it comes to the sport.
Unreal.
And it's just going to get better and better as more people get into STIHL Timbersports as time goes by.
Talking about STIHL Timbersports, we've got some more dates for you to put down in your calendars.
Yes, sir.
27th of August, well, that's today. Not only watching STIHL Timbersports at this very moment makes sense, but also in the afternoon. We're going to have the Pro Championship starting at 4 p.m. On the 4th of September, of course, the German Pro Championship. On the 10th of September, the Swiss Pro Championship. On the 11th of September, the European Nations Cup. I know, Troy, you're really looking forward to that.
I like that one.
And on the 28th, the Team World Championship. And finally, on the 29th, the Individual World Championship. So a very, very big, I don't know, what do you say in English?
Like, busy schedule?
Yeah, but like if you have a Strauss, like a lot of flowers.
A bouquet.
A bouquet, yes. a grand bouquet of STIHL Timbersports. And I mean, if you're enjoying today, trust me, these other competitions are going to be just as good. It's, yeah.
Gonna love the team competition coming up in October in Gothenburg here, as well as the individual competition. So that's going to be the end-all, be-all for this season. It's going to be fantastic. Boom. Book your tickets now.
Yeah, make sure to see it live. We just saw it from Vienna Rathausplatz, Rookies World Championship. The atmosphere is going to be absolutely amazing around here corner in Gothenburg. And things are getting loud again. We're ready for the next heats. And that is heat number 5 between Bo Andersen and Lukas Wagesreiter.
Lucas has got an opportunity here to try and make up for that DQ, which was an unfortunate faux pas on his part with the stock saw. He's got a great personal best time here of 25 and a couple of seconds, 25.87 in fact. Bo Anderson, personal best of 44.58. Weather can play a role here as well. It's drizzling just a little bit out there, but not on stage where these guys are. But the amount of moisture in the air can also affect how these logs react under the circumstances. So let's see how Lucas does here against Bo.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
So both of these guys immediately telling me that there's a bit more experience in the way that they're driving into these blocks, using that wide stance and really putting in some nice, accurate drivers there. I couldn't see the cut side from Bo Anderson, but Lucas Vargas right there, a little bit of the nerves taking over for him, has really started to work on that backside of his block.
But he's angry
Bo Anderson
now.
on the other side. Yeah, he's really angry with that block. Bo Anderson, there's a difference in the way that he cuts. He's very accurate with that axe. You can see his lines are super clean on each cut right there. And that's going to mean good things for him. And he's going to have a personal best of 35.90. Fantastic job by Bo Anderson.
What a heat.
And Lucas Vargas right in there with a 33.95.
Nice.
So right now, standing block chop,
Okay, ladies and
it's
gentlemen, both cuts are good.
a Norwegian, an Austrian, and a Norwegian in the top 3 positions, with the top 4 positions, top 3 positions just over 30 seconds. So we'll take a look at that here. So there you see the top 3 guys all around 32, 33, 35 seconds.
Very close together, yeah.
So very close together. And then the next closest times from Bjørnsen Berglund, just over a minute. So there is some work to be done here, and we're going to see the
Two more
times
athletes
improve
coming up.
as time goes by and the experience comes.
Yeah, we just heard it. Konicek and Carlson, the last 2 competitors in our final heats in the standing block chop.
So both of these guys are very, very solid in this discipline. And
look at the
here you're going to
personal
see
bests. Wow.
Edvin Carlson with a personal best 19.25. And you'll see the experience and the difference between him and the guys that we saw off the hop in this discipline. Robin Konicek as well, a very solid man with the axe in his hand. So let's see. A couple of practice swings from Edvin.
Okay. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Edvin looking pretty relaxed, actually, as he takes some big hits there.
Some mighty swings there.
Robin Konicek looking very good, and his pace is quick as well. I like it. And Edvin Carlson's already moved over to the other side of his block. He could have a good time here today. Robin Konicek working on the second side of his block, and Edvin Carlson's going to get it done in 20.47. Robin Konicek shouldn't be too far behind him, though. It looked like I was starting to wiggle a bit, but he may need a few more drivers than I anticipated. He's getting closer with a big stick right there, and one more should do it. He's done it in 36.31. He'll be disappointed by that time because I thought he was a little bit closer, and I think he thought he was a bit closer as well.
But how about that for a final heat? Wow.
All right, last checks on the blocks as they come off the top to make sure there's no...
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, both cuts are good.
So we have Norway, Austria, and right on top, Mr. Edvin Carlson.
So Edvin Carlson with a great time of 20.31 moves to the top. And there you see he's at the top of standing block chop.
Very happy about that.
12 seconds ahead of the next fastest, yeah?
Not bad at all. So
let's see how this changes the overall ranking here. So Edvin Carlson's still got a bit of work to do to come from 5th place there. But Peterson up there, Espen Peterson at the top of the overall rankings with 18 points. Adam Bjørns, and then Robin Konicek in 3rd place.
Yeah, oh, here we are again, back in the studio, enjoying the competition so far. The intermediates coming up right away, but there's one thing I want to talk to you about a bit more, because you were talking about the weather and the moistureness, you know, making a big difference on the wood, on the axe. Let's talk about the wood. Is it always the same? How can you make sure it's more or less the same quality for every competitor?
Well, the wood is always harvested from the same stands for a competition, and so the athletes will get the same wood for a competition. So it's not like that one guy's going to get a piece of wood that's 6 months old and another guy gets a piece of wood that's like 2 months old, which makes the difference in the amount of moisture in the block and also makes it easier or harder to cut through. So that plays a huge role. But the guys at Bart Jansen's company do a lot to make sure that the wood is fairly harvested and fairly distributed and then made so that every athlete has the same conditions.
So all the details coming up.
STIHL Timbersports is an international extreme sports competition series featuring 6 disciplines: 3 chopping and 3 sawing. We have a premier competition, we need premier wood. The biggest challenges that I face as part of my role is to ensure that our competitions are supplied with the highest quality wood.
Each individual tree is examined for its conformation before processing. We need to make it fair for all athletes. So we are selecting different sections of the trees to use for each of our specific disciplines.
Once the trees are felled, extracted and transported to our facilities, we measure, mark and then cut the wood into sized blocks. We then peel the blocks ready for competition. After careful selection, the blocks then leave our yard and are distributed internationally to our STIHL Timbersports competitions.
So there we have the start lists for our next competitors. We will see Mr. Givers compete all by himself in the first heat, and there he is already. Bart Givers. Later on it will be Johan Sigerstedt and Kim Wolke. After that, Klaus Magnus Halvorsen and Peter Eriksson, and finally Emil Svensson and Viktor Klamo. That's the 4 heats we're going to see. And as mentioned before, starting it off with Bart Givers.
Bart is actually one of the more seasoned intermediate athletes.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
And again, talking about the stance and the amount of power and the accuracy of the drivers, you can see Bart has a quite wide stance. He's got clean drivers. So every time you can get as clean a driver into that block as possible, on line with the one you just did, you're going to get a better and faster cut, because accuracy also improves the speed. Ooh, and right there we saw that axe skip off. Now that is the thing that we talked about, how being experienced in this discipline can play a huge role, and having that axe skip away on an upcut like that can be very dangerous. And you can see here his drivers are very flat compared to the first side, and he's trying to put as much into it as possible. It looks like he could be close to his best time. Yep, pretty close. He stays consistent with a 43.02. His personal best time was, I think, 43 or 42 and change.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, good.
So a time of 42.84 for Bart Givers in the intermediate category here. And obviously he's going to be on top of the board, having been the first athlete out for this group. We don't need to talk about that. We talk about where the skill level is at with the rest of these guys. As we've seen, Bart tends to, he's got a little bit more. But what I noticed there is on the first side, he had those really nice drivers, very accurate, and then he went to the other side, and it's almost like he was tired out and got a bit lazy on his hits.
Maybe it's tiredness, you know, feeling exhausted already, do you think? It's lack of power? I can't say. Johan Sigerstedt against Peter Eriksson, that's our next heat, that is for sure.
Peter Eriksson with a very nice personal best, 27.60.
He is definitely the favorite in this duel, but Let's see what Johan has to offer. He's
the favorite is not always the favorite, though. We've learned that many times in the past, where the athletes
what do you
have
mean
really
the favorite is
spent
not the
time
favorite?
working on their weaknesses
Of course
and
he
come
is
on
the favorite.
strong.
Stand
It doesn't
to
mean
your
he has to win. You're
timber.
absolutely right.
3,
Seen
2,
so many things
1,
happening
go!
in Steel Timber Sports competition.
So you can see Eriksson there on the left-hand side of your stage at the moment from this view. Not really throwing a lot of power into it. Segerstedt also not really heavy on the drivers and very flat hits. You can see the angle of his axe on the upcut is very, very flat. Now, Eriksson's already moved over to the other side of his block, and it seems like the second side is the stronger side for him, as he's got a wider stance. He's stepping back onto that back foot, pushing through the hips. Segerstedt now onto his second side now with a disadvantage, but it looks like he may improve on his personal best time. Both of these guys may well do it. Eriksson with a 37.68. That's a nice time. Not as fast, 10 seconds slower than his best. So now for Segerstedt, it's just about getting through that block in under a minute, which he should be able to do. It looks pretty close, but he's really driving from the shoulders and from the arms more than anything, and he's going to do it.
Wow.
Yes, a personal best under a minute. That's a great job, and he is stoked by that. And what did I tell you? That's the difference right there. The time they're spending off to make sure they're training up, and huge improvement for him, going from a personal best of 110.94 to a 58.22.
That's impressive. What about the tactics? He started more or less slow, but he kept it going and kept it going, and he knew exactly what he was capable of.
Yeah,
I enjoyed
definitely. So now we're going to have a ranking. Seems like it. Yep. So Eriksson, Gevers in second place, and Segerstedt. He's only 20 seconds off pace, and you saw the nice improvement from his side, and that was fantastic to see that. So far, so good. We've seen some nice action there and some improvements. I like it.
We've talked about things that you liked. What about the Nations Cup?
Nations Cup, very good.
We're going to see that very soon. Of course, we're going to be there as well. You want to hear a bit more? You want to get a bit of a teaser?
Yeah, let's check out the Nations Cup stuff. Come on.
A very warm welcome to the European Nations Cup. This is a very, very special event.
Rumor has it, I'm a savage, drop the classic, thinking back.
Ziel ist immer Treppchenplatz, egal welchen Wettkampf man macht.
Team Sweden's goal is always the gold medal.
Got a mask, who was that? Living legend, lethal weapon, mastermind, never tried, tell them all. Big dreams, I got big dreams since like baby. I've been joining forces with the likes of an A-team.
Wir müssen natürlich jeder seine Leistung für sich bringen. Gewertet wird es als Team. Also müssen wir als Team stark sein. Ich denke mal, da sind wir ganz gut dieses Jahr aufgestellt.
All of my struggles became lessons well learned. I got desires that keep me grounded, that's for sure. Cause one day we gon' make it out this earth. Where's your worth? I'm sick of your talking, you got the wrong one. I'm taking your king and I leave him broken. If I am in second, it's after no one. Just give me a second to let them know. I'm the headline, the deadline. I'm a head time, the red kind. I'm a living legend, lethal weapon, mastermind. Big time.
So it's not exactly a team competition, but it is, in a manner of speaking.
Hashtag Timber moments. I know exactly why you're really looking forward to that. So here we have the competitions for the rest of the year coming up. I've said it so many times. Yeah, we've got the German Pro Championship on the 4th of September. On the 10th, we'll have the Swiss Pro Championship. On the 11th, the European Nations Cup that we've just seen.
September's full.
Yeah, and of course in October, Team World Championship and Individual World Championship coming up. So
and there is the Benelux Championship, but you'll have to watch that on the ticker. And there's going to be more athletes mixed up in everything that's going on in the next days.
Still many points to be collected to find out who's going to be competing at the World Championship. Of course, we know the best Swede is going to be there of the Pro Championship that's going to start in the afternoon. But the top 7 from Europe, they are going to be involved in the World Championship as well. And that, of course, is just around the corner. So back to the heat, back to the standing block jump. Sorry, Troy.
So we just heard there was one athlete missing. I don't know what's happening there. There he is. He's just sauntering on the stage. Having a bit of a coffee break earlier on, maybe. Kim Wolke, meanwhile, on stage, ready to go. Victor Klarmo just setting up his position on stage right, if you're looking from the audience point of view.
And tell you what, Klarmo is a man to watch. I mean, he showed us in the last competition that he's capable of a lot. Let's just hope he doesn't get another DQ. And I'm sure he's going to surprise us with a great time.
Ready.
Well, he needs to come back in this one for sure.
To your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
So first couple of drivers there for Klarmo. And again, you can see that the upper angle is no problem. So driving from high down into the block. The lower angle is the one that's the issue for many of these athletes, and it's not coming from floor level as it should. But Volker moves over to the other side of his block, just behind, I'm going to say, Klarmo. I didn't see when Klarmo moved over, but Volker at the moment, they're pretty much neck and neck here, but Klarmo looks like he's just putting a bit more power into it. To answer your question,
Talking about
37.04. To answer your question from earlier about having a little bit more weight behind your hits and a bit more power, yeah, sure, it can help if you're only swinging from the shoulders. But, you know, it doesn't mean anything. Oh, look at that thing spinning around on top for Volker, 52.73. He's under a minute. That's quite okay. His personal best is 44.98, so not his best cut today. But Bart Janssen giving him a bit of a giggle there from the block spinning around on top. I think probably we're going to see that time change down once the competition control
Okay,
gets
ladies and
around.
gentlemen, both cuts are good.
So, Victor Klarmo finally getting himself some well-deserved points.
Yes, he needed those desperately. So at the moment, he's atop the standing block chop. So let's take a look there. 7 points he'll get from this one. So that's going to be all he's got because of the DQ.
If it stays like that.
If
We've
it stays like
still
that.
got two more athletes coming up, but
correct.
He's definitely one of the favorites. And that finish from Klarmo, I really enjoyed that because it felt like he was getting stronger on the way. He didn't start off that.
Interesting, hey? Yeah. All right, so next up we've got Klaus Magnus Halvorsen from Norway going up against Emil Svensson.
Very close together with the personal best, so this could be another really nice one. But for some reason, I just feel like nobody's going to beat Victor Klarmo in the standing block chop. Are you going to go against me on that?
I don't know.
This is the last heat, so put your money on the table.
I'm going to say that Klaus Magnus Halvorsen is going to have an improvement here.
Athletes ready.
That's my guess.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, wow, look at him go.
Yeah, he's got the frequency increased in his hits here. It's not exactly beautiful from down below. Svensson, though, he's also pretty fast with those drivers.
Wow.
But you can see his accuracy really isn't on point, but he's switching over to the other side quickly. Where is Halvorsen? He's still working on his first side. Okay, I put my foot in my mouth on that one. Maybe I even jinxed him. Sorry about that, buddy. Svensson has already worked on the other side, though, waiting for the time for him because he should be close to finishing up that block. About 3-4 more drivers should do it for him as he is getting really close there. Ooh, a swing through that could have been problematic had he let go of that axe, and he does it in a time of 37.20.
Not bad, but Victor Klarmo stays on top in the standing block chop.
I thought for sure Halvorsen was going to make an improvement here, but yeah, not happening for him today as he steps past the 1 minute mark, and now he has really got to put it all in order to make sure that he is within the 1 minute 30-second time limit. He's getting tired. You can see it right away. He's burnt.
Oh, come on. You can do it.
You can do it, buddy.
We don't want to see a DQ in this standing block chop. Come on.
He is absolutely spent trying to find that
energy.
energy.
Last 8 seconds.
And what's happened here is he's gotten so much power into the first side and he's lost the accuracy on the second side, and it's become an issue for him because he's going in with flat drivers, and that means it's going to be a DQ for overtime, and he is disappointed. Absolutely gutted after that performance, unfortunately. And I thought for sure he would be much closer to his best time.
Stand 2. It's good. Stand 1. DQ. Out of time.
So, standing block chop is done and dusted for everybody, and we're going to be moving on to the next discipline. But taking a look at this, you were absolutely correct with Victor Klarmo. Held onto that top spot, and boy, did he ever need those points.
Oh, yes. He definitely needed those points. I'm pretty sure we're going to see the overall standing in just a second. Here we go.
Yeah, let's see how this changes things a bit.
So Eriksson and
holds on to the
Svensson.
top. Svensson in second place. Gavers moves down into third place. Klarmo holds on to fourth place for the moment.
Also, just for explanation, they both got 12 points, but the faster time is what's going to make the difference at the end of the day.
Absolutely
if we have two athletes with the same amount of
It's good
points.
that you pointed that out because I missed that one completely.
No, it's just because I was wondering, oh, they got the same points, but at the end of the day, all the
about the
disciplines
fastest
they ran
times.
through,
Yep, correct.
overall 4 disciplines that's going to be. And the women are back.
They are back, and we move on to our next discipline called the Misery Whip. I wonder why they call it the Misery Whip.
Here is all you need to know about the single buck.
The 2-meter-long cross-cut saw used for the single buck discipline is made especially for competition. A series of consistently patterned 10-centimeter-long teeth are cut with a laser on one side of the saw and then hand-sharpened. Saw teeth are divided into 2 types, cutters and rakers, just like on the old-school saws. The saw weighs about 5 kilos and its base price starts at around 1,500 euros. Single buck. The single buck is a one-man saw about 2 meters long. With this, the athletes have to cut off a complete disc from a 40-centimeter thick wooden block. The perfect interplay between rhythm and strength is the key to success.
So our athletes are ready to rock and roll. We're going to see 3 heats, starting with Felixia Bank going first all by herself. Then we have Juliana Einfeld against Asa Nordberg. And finally in heat number 3, Tove Nierstadt and Alrun Übing. And I think they are already on stage, Troy. We're ready to rock.
Felixia is motivated here as well because after the DQ in the stock saw with that big cutout, she wants to have a clean run with the single buck.
Yeah, fingers crossed for her.
Absolutely. And again, she's looking relaxed. Maybe she needs to put on a bit more tension in order not to have problems in this discipline here. As you can see, she's setting the saw in position. 2-meter long crosscut saw, as you saw in the description. Look at the size of those teeth.
My word.
Yeah. So the thing here is getting that saw started is like wrestling a bear. Keeping it started is like wrestling a bear while the bear is without any hair and greased up. It's hard.
That's a great picture in my head.
Yeah. And now so she'll have an assistant on stage, as will all of them. They're
Athlete ready.
Wedgers
Stand
or
to your timber.
helpers,
3,
whatever you want to call
2,
them.
1, go!
All right, so right away you could see starting that saw
Come on, Felixia,
is
go for it.
dramatic. So Felixia needs to really get that thing going. And
Yeah,
once she
find
has
the
the
rhythm.
flow, though, and gets that rhythm, then that's key to keep that rhythm going. And now when the saw disappears into that block, you'll see the wedge go in place. The wedge is there to try and assist the athlete in making sure that the wood doesn't bind on the saw. But that's just one of many problems that can occur here. And you can see a small change in angle stops the saw. Restarting that saw is an effort. It takes a lot of energy and a lot of power to keep that thing going, and restarting it takes even more.
But she's doing a good job now. Yes, come on.
Now she's got the flow going, but you can see she's also not using the entire length of the saw. So again, this is something that you learn with time. You learn with training with other athletes that are better than you in this discipline. So right there at the end, you saw that she twisted the saw a little bit and it broke off. Now what they're checking to see is if there's a tab. If there's a tab, she'll get a DQ.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Good, good.
Oh, yes.
So
that's
luckily,
what I
she's
wanted
got
to
some
hear.
points, and
a
she now
personal
has her
best.
personal
yes.
best.
Well done. Good job, Felixia.
Yeah.
Happy to see her gaining points, keeping that smile on her face.
So as you saw, that was quite the, the difficult start for those big long saws. And I mean, I'm not a small person.
No, he's
I
not.
consider myself to have a little bit of power. But the truth is, getting that saw started is really, really hard. Keeping it going, once you've got a good flow, it's not so bad. You should theoretically be able to move it back and forth if your position is right, just using one hand.
Yes.
But you want to make sure that you're putting enough pressure on to cut and sweep all that wood out of there to make sure you got your cookie on the floor.
And that's a nice one to try if you get the chance. If you visit like STIHL Timbersports events, sometimes you get the possibility as a ordinary person to give this a try. It is so difficult. It is so hard.
Yeah. I mean, there are often events where the single buck is the one saw where other people can give it a chance. And yeah, it's a great opportunity just to see what you're all about and if your strength is there. Here we go.
That's probably how Asa or Tove, got to start with STIHL Timbersports. This is heat number 2, by the way, and the personal bests are not too bad. So Nordberg versus Njastad, the Swedish duel coming up on stage right now.
Well, time to beat is actually 46.62, so that's a solid time from Felixia Bank. Let's see if either one of these two women can match or better it. Åsa Nordberg with a 57.18 personal best. Tove Njostad with a 41.15. But as we've seen many times in the past and even today, some of those personal bests just don't cut mustard here when the conditions aren't right on par for your needs. You can see the last minute positioning of the saw, and also on the one stand there, Bart Janssen is there with the small metal guide to make sure that the saw is in the correct position for both of these athletes. There's Dan Janssen, last minute position. They're putting a block down for her. That's also interesting that they've opted to allow the athletes to have a block behind the back foot for better pressure. You'll see some athletes wearing spiked shoes, and some will get a block behind their back foot as a push assist.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1,
time to find out what Felixia Bank's time is worth.
Nice start by Åsa Nordberg.
Yeah,
got
great
good
rhythm.
flow, and she gets a bit stuck there. You can see how the angle change makes a huge difference. Njostad looking good as she's putting everything into it, waiting for that wedge to be positioned. You don't want to put it in there too early and cause problems. And now she's got good flow. But here you can see the difference. Using the shorter strokes with that saw, you're not using the efficiency of the length of that 2-meter-long crosscut saw. And it's really, really a battle. And a personal best of 32.07 for Njostad. Nordberg still struggling to get through as she's only using about 1/4 to maybe 1/2 of that saw length. But she's got a problem as she's coming close to a cutout at the bottom, as she's got a very, very thinning getting thinner cookie at the bottom. I hope that doesn't break off and leave a tab for her. We'll keep a close eye on what's happening there with that cut.
Great camera work to
oh my
see if
goodness, how
thin
is that?
No!
Oh no!
Come on! Is that... Oh.
But you can see how it's starting to flex, and oh wow, that was amazing. How thin that cookie was towards the bottom. The risk is very high that she twists that saw, breaks it off, and leaves a tab at the bottom of the block. I mean, it would have been a DQ anyway because of exceeded time, but unfortunately, the DQ is there nevertheless.
Stand 2 is good, and stand 1, unfortunately, out of time, DQ.
All right, so Tove Njostad moves to the top of the leaderboard in single buck. Felixia Bank jumps down into second, or is pushed down into second, and Åsa Nordberg with a DQ for time limit exceeded at the moment in third place with no points. All right, coming up next, we should have Juliana Einfalt going up against Aren Ubing. Both of them very, very good crosscut sawyers.
Oh, look at those personal bests.
Solid. Anders out there having himself a good time on stage.
Yeah, obviously enjoying himself, yes.
Yeah, most definitely.
So we've got a bit of rain now. Do you feel that this is something that is changing things for the athletes?
Not massively, no. I think they're well covered on stage. The BJ events stage with that big deck and backdrop keep the athletes pretty dry. The only thing that would be an issue then is if the wind really started to blow towards the front of the stage, which would then become problematic for maybe a bit of foot grip or on the axes, for instance, on the handle of the axes.
Oh, like we saw with Lucas having that slip off, yeah.
Yeah, but what they'll do very often is they'll wrap the axe handles in a cloth, or they'll put some powder on there to make sure that the axes stay grippable. That's a great looking saw right there with a shark cut out at the very front. That's cool. I haven't seen that yet. That's brand new for me.
Actually, quite nice. Yeah, you don't want to mess with that girl when she's got that saw in her hand.
Definitely not.
Talk about not messing around. I mean, Iron Übing, she is one hell of a competitor.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, an injured hand in Vienna still competed and did well. You got to give her credit for where credit is due.
Okay. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
All right, what we're going to see here
nice start from both.
Is a great start from both of these women. But the difference here is they're using the entire length of that saw. So really pushing it through and being as efficient with their cuts as possible.
Wow.
You don't have to be frantic, but you can be efficient with long, smooth cuts. And
Wow.
Aaron Übing
Wow.
with a 19.20. Juliana Einfalt getting close to finishing off her bottom cut there as she comes through with a 28.53.
That should actually be the second best time, if I'm not mistaken, because Tove Njosted had a 31.68. If that time is confirmed for
correct.
Juliana, it would be 28.30, and we'll put her into second space here at the single buck.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, both cuts are good.
Well done, ladies.
Well done.
And did you see that smile when they shook hands?
Yeah.
That's beautiful to see.
Yeah. And you could see the spiked shoes from Aaron Übing.
Yeah.
So there we see she is actually on top of the ranking here with Juliana Einfalt and then Tove Njosted in third place and taking a personal best home as well as Felixia Bank getting a personal best too. Great for her to see that. And unfortunately, the time limit excluded for
and of course,
Åsa Nordberg.
this is what counts. And look at that, 9, 8, and 7 points on the top three.
Wow.
Übing before Njosted and Einfalt. So everything and anything is possible.
Wide open,
Oh,
wide
wow.
open.
And that, of course, means women's discipline is over. We're going to move on to the rookies.
Yep.
Shall we take a look at the start list? You ready for that?
I'm ready for the start list,
Okay.
but let's talk about this. We've seen the styles that are happening with the single buck saw. How some people will start really quick and then move into long flowy strokes. Some people will start with long flowy strokes, but the main thing here is to cut as clean and efficiently as possible.
So here are the heats with Axel Björk and Anton Lindberg competing in the first one. In heat number 2, we'll see Espen Pedersen and Robin Konicek, I believe. No, Berglund and Pedersen. Then we've got Andersen and Nielsen. And in heat number 4, it will be Bjorns all by himself. As
Again?
in heat 5, yeah, the poor guy. Staff will take on Konicek and finally Carlsen and Vagesreiter in heat number 6.
Axel Björk up against Anton Lindberg. No personal best here, so we will lock in personal best at this competition for both of these guys, assuming there is no DQ. And again, this will be with assistant. The competitions today for intermediate rookies and women single buck is all with assistant. And you can see just as they set the saw, how easily it glides through the wood. I mean, it takes away quite a lot of wood. It is very sharp, very precise. Emil Hansen going to be the assistant there for, I believe that's Anton Lindberg. We'll be seeing Emil Hansen competing later on in the afternoon for the pro men. Also coming through the rookie ranks with impressive scores.
Very impressive indeed. And you can really feel the tension now. That's another great aspect of STIHL Timbersports. You know, it's normally very loud and very intense. But you have these moments,
Stand to your timber.
You feel the silence, you feel the tension.
1, go!
And you know competition is going to start and everybody's going to give their all.
Anton Lindberg with a little bit of a hook up there had started well. Axel Björk a little bit behind as he starts to get into the rhythm. Lindberg doing the same thing, but again, changing that angle ever so slightly can lock up that saw. And like I said before, with the women, if that saw locks up, it's a real bear to restart. It's a greased bear, in fact. Oh, and a great time for Anton Lindberg with a 29.30. And as I mentioned, these will be the first logged-in scores for them in competition, and that means personal best for both of these guys, and Axel Björk with a 40.39. So well done there for both of these guys.
Could be worse.
It definitely could be worse.
Nice start into this competition.
And again, this is just about experience. You know, it's about experience and time with the saw in hand or the axe in hand. However, you get that experience. The more time you can spend doing it, the better you're going to get at it.
Both guys are good.
Oh, I mean, look at Lindberg. He's such a nice character. Almost shy, saying, oh, yeah, I just achieved something. You know, I got myself a great time. Of course, it's a personal best.
Yeah, he's a young guy. You can see that he's definitely there. It's just a couple more things that need to click for him to really take that next step. You know, he needs to become a little bit more powerful. He might grow a little bit more. He's still very young. And once that...
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Once that happens, though, and he gets that skill and that experience, then we're going to see him knocking out these events, no problem at all.
And that's what these guys are here for. That's what rookie competition is all about. And we've seen so many great athletes proceed from starting off as rookies to be great competitors in the pro competition. And hopefully Edwin and Espen are going to do the same sometime. So we've got Berglund versus Pedersen up on stage. That's our heat number 2.
Single buck, personal best time, 41.98 for Edvin Berglund. And again, these guys so young. Espen Petersen getting a little bit of help from Bo. And I'm imagining that when Bo Anderson comes out to do his cut later on, he'll probably have Espen helping him out, you know? You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. Now there you see on the left-hand side, Edvin Berglund with his saw upside down in the groove that's been cut. What that's doing is giving him a chance to check his stance and be able to move the saw without actually illegally cutting before the competition can start, and he'll have
It's the first time I've seen it today, although normally you see it quite often.
You see it quite often, and it also helps clear out any of the slough that's left inside that groove as they do move the saw back and forth.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
So here you can see Espen Petersen has a much more aggressive stance, very wide with his feet. Berglund, on the other hand, has a bit more of a relaxed stance, but he's using his arms and upper body quite a bit in order to move that saw. Petersen, on the other hand, is using the entire length of that saw. You can see the tip of the saw disappear as he draws back through the wood. Both of them having fairly good flow. Emil Hansen still guiding Berglund along, but Espen Petersen with a great personal best of 22.27. That is fantastic. And Berglund, a 33.02 personal best for him as well. Great improvement for both of these guys.
Almost 10 seconds for both of them.
Yeah.
That's what we want to see, and that's what you talked about so many times. You know, if you achieve a personal best, that means you've done good.
Yeah.
You know,
any time that you can walk away with a personal best means that you've made improvements in your skill level and your experience level, and it's a big deal.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, stand 1.
Still pumping.
Stand 2, DQ false start.
Oh no! False start on a DQ for Espen Petersen. I didn't see that, so
neither did I.
I don't know if we have slow-mo replay on that, but that's a real
shame.
That's a gut punch for Espen Petersen right there. He started a little bit before the gun, unfortunately. But even with 10 seconds difference,
but that's how precise judges work.
Yeah.
We didn't notice. I don't think the audience noticed. I don't even think that Pedersen noticed himself. But we've got the camera pictures. They will check out on everything. And I feel sorry for him. That's a tough one. As we proceed to heat number 3 with Bo Andersen and Albin Nilsson. Personal best 40.14 and 40.29. So that could be
between these two
very,
guys.
very close heat.
So you can see
there's the smile back on Bo's face.
You can see Bo Andersen. He's a long, lanky character, whereas Albin Nilsson's a little bit more powerful from the look and a little bit stockier. And both of their times are very similar. So here, what we might see is two different cutting styles, and how that long lankiness, those long legs and long arms could really be an advantage over a guy who's maybe using shorter, stockier, quicker cuts. So we'll see. Let's see if we do actually have vastly different styles between these two athletes.
I will take a very close look now, you told me, Troy. Very close look.
Foot position is going to be interesting to see how they both set up.
I'm a big fan of Bo Andersen, I have to say. I like this character,
Yeah.
The fierce look on the picture, but always the big smile when he enters the stage, when he goes off. No matter if it's a DQ or a great time, he's just enjoying himself. Oh, look, a very different positioning right from the start.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
So there you see right away Bo Andersen getting into it with some quick start cuts, and then gets into the longer, flowier rhythm. Now he's starting to use that, but he's still moving pretty fast, but he's using more of the saw now as he gets through the midpoint of his cut. Nilsson really struggling to find the rhythm here as his angles are changing too much. And I think that has to do a lot with his body position too, because if you look, he's twisting his upper body and using his arms a lot to reposition the saw in position on the block. How many times can you say position in a sentence, Troy? And Bo Andersen, he was actually standing behind the saw and pushing the saw through, using his hips and upper body and his back leg.
That's what you mentioned at the beginning, that you expect them to have different techniques.
Styles,
in this case, one has to
also
say
those aggressive spikes on Bo Andersen's shoes. Those are massive.
So two personal bests. Oh,
yeah, still good.
Okay.
Personal best. A good improvement by Bo Andersen. Good 3 seconds for him, 3 and change. And Albin Nilsson, just 0.2 of a second better than his previous. So he'll take it. Look at that. Personal best across the board, almost. And it would have been a personal best for Espen Petersen as well. Come on, let's be honest. You know, a false start isn't going to gain you 10 seconds.
No, not at all.
Unless you start 4 seconds ahead of the clock.
So that actually was very impressive.
Realistically speaking, we have personal best across the board. It's an unfortunate DQ for a false start, which was probably milliseconds ahead of the start gun for Espen Petersen.
But we didn't notice.
I feel bad for him. I mean, really, he had a great cut.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what we expect from our next heats as well, of course. Some personal best. with Johann Staff and Robin Konicek coming up, and Edwin Carlsen and Lukas Wageset. And I've just been told we might have had a false start again.
Now, I think what we have here is a review of the false start from Peterson, so maybe we get a chance to have a look at that and just see really how little the difference was. I'm hoping that's what they mean by coming over our ears here. Do we have that, guys? Oh my goodness, we've just been told the false start was by 0.11 seconds, so more or less 1/10 of a second. Too quick.
There's nothing that you can really say. It's just, yeah.
Yeah, unfortunate for Espen Peterson, but like we said, it would have been a personal best of at least 8 seconds had he started on time. So, you know, he was good to go, and he had a good cut. It's just unfortunate that we did have that false start, but that's the way it goes. This is competition.
Yeah. We're trying to get world class here if you're in the rookies competition, and that's the way to go. Adam Björns now in heat number 4, competing all by himself, just against the clock. We've talked about this many times. He's ready and set, and hopefully he's not going to start too early and fast.
Time to beat at the moment belongs to Anton Lindberg with a 29.03.
Ready. Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Nice start, very smooth. He's got good style already. You can see he's using those blocks that the guys put into the floor for him. He's got a nice thin cookie.
Makes it look so easy,
He almost doesn't need that wedge from his assistant on stage. That is a beautiful thin cookie. If he can keep that line, he's going to have a solid time here, just passing the 20-second mark. In fact, I think he's definitely going to have a personal best here. He's getting close to it.
Wow.
There it is.
Wow.
Yes, it is. 27.60, personal best, and the fastest time of the day.
Nice.
So not so bad for him to be alone on stage. Hey, Marcus.
Very much looks like it. But that was so smooth. He made it look so easy. That was impressive. Wow.
Yeah, but this is the thing that we say, you know, smooth is clean, clean is fast.
Good.
And also, he's another one of these nice characters.
These guys still have to learn how to celebrate a bit, though.
So shy. It's like, man, you were just killing it. It's brilliant.
1.66 seconds faster than Lindberg, so that puts Björns into first place for the moment. We still do have 2 more heats to go, but that was great. And this is exactly what we were illustrating right from the very get-go. It doesn't matter who's doing it or you know, how it's being done. As long as those cuts are smooth and clean and flowing, then you're going to have a good time. And that's exactly what we saw in that last heat.
That was a perfect demonstration.
It was beautiful.
Yeah. Johann Staff against Robin Konicek. Personal best from Robin Konicek, 14.38. So
he is great in this discipline.
Whew.
But you'll also see his style. He'll have a very wide stance, and he uses that upper body power as well as the blast off of that back foot to really work that saw here. Johann Staff, also pretty good, solid time of 28 and change for him. So if he can make an improvement here, it's stepping into the next realm for these guys.
Yeah, and of course, it's the third of 4 disciplines, and all the points you can collect now are going to be very, very important to make it to the top of the podium. And all of these guys, they still see the chance, and they still have the chance.
So check out that back foot by Robin Konicek there. Very far out. He's out in left field, but he's got a really wide stance. Let's see if Johann Staff does the same thing. I think he will.
Okay. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Very wide.
So check out the style here from Robin Konicek. He gets into the wood with a couple of really quick cuts, and he's got a lot of encouragement from Lukas Wageset right on stage there. And look at the time from Robin Konicek. Yes!
Wow! Wow.
A 13.65 personal best for Konacek. A great
that's
job.
Fantastic.
That is fantastic. Staff was struggling to get that saw started, but then got into the flow. He's also got a pretty thin cookie, but here he's got to be real careful that he doesn't break. Oh, he's done it. He's broken off the tab. And that's what I was talking about. You got to reset that and cut it off properly. And now he's in a bit of trouble because it's not cut clean off, and that could mean a DQ for him, and he can't touch it with his hand.
But what
So
about
that's going to be a decision
Konacek?
by our judges here.
And Lucas Wagereiter, he was part of the team. He was
yelling and screaming.
Both cuts are good.
Robin was not allowed to stop.
Good stuff by Johann Staff. He managed to keep that good cut. It was just off at the bottom. So Robin Konacek with a fantastic 13.49. Look at the difference there, though. 13.88 seconds difference between first and second place there. Björn's in second, Lindberg, and then Staff with his time, which I thought was going to be a DQ, thankfully wasn't, as a 31.71 in fourth place at the moment.
And that means that Robin Konacek and Adam Björns both would have 27 points at the moment in overall, putting them right on top of the board. But of course, we've still got Carlsen and Wagereiter to come, and they are also longing and going for
This is a discipline where Edvin Carlsen is very, very strong. You can see his personal best is very good. Lucas has been working hard on this discipline as well, and his personal best tells you exactly that same thing. Tail of the tape here in this case, Lucas has an advantage based on personal best. But based on what we've seen in the past with the Swedes, Edvin's been working hard to try and make improvements in this discipline. And he's got one of the best to help back him up in Hans-Ove Hansen, who was always very, very good in this discipline.
It's going to be nice to see Robin shouting at Lucas, just to help him. You know, it's
well, these two guys, you know, they're pushing each other to try and make it to every improvement that they can get.
Yeah, great to see him here. It's oh yeah, we've a second cut on that log.
Yeah, that was just where they placed the saw the first time around. He went too deep, so they had to reposition and make sure that the second cut was fair.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Great view of those spiked shoes that the guys use as well. Edvin Carlsen. Look at deep knee bends, really working the power into that saw. And it looks like we're going to have a good time for both of these guys. They're battling hard against each other, but it's going to be...
No, Wagereiter, are you kidding me? Where did that come from?
And a personal best for Carlsen of 13.48. That is a grand effort from both of them.
But where did that come from, that finish?
He's not finished. He's Austrian.
Wow.
That was a beautiful cut from Wagereiter, though. Absolutely flawless.
Yeah, and that would put Wagereiter on top before Carlsen and Konacek. But let's wait for Bart Janssen.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, both cuts are good.
All right, so Edvin Carlsen with a personal best, sitting in second place. And we'll take a look at the overall rankings here after the single buck rankings. So,
and of course the Austrians are only guests. So
correct, yeah. So that's something that we should point out. The Austrians that are here are only guests, so they won't be on the podium today. They're here as a chance for them to train and practice. But taking a look here, actually it's Björn's in second place overall with Carlsen in third place. So this last discipline that's coming up for our rookies, the underhand chop, will be the deciding, or in the case of the big boys, the make or break discipline to see who's got the fastest underhand chop. That could be the difference maker.
It couldn't be more exciting. And of course, we've seen the women on the single puck. We've seen the rookies on the single puck. And that just leaves us with the intermediates. And
it's the intermediates coming up next. And then one more discipline after that, the underhand chop. And as I said, that's going to be the decision maker in the Swedish rookie competition, definitely.
So let's take a look at our start list for the single buck here in the intermediate competition. We will see Bart Gevers competing all by himself in the first heat. Then we have Johan Segerstedt and Klaus Magnus Halvorsen, Peter Eriksson and Kim Wolk in heat number 3, and finally in heat number 4 it will be Emil Svensson and Viktor Klarmo. And I believe Bart Gevers is already on stage, getting prepared.
He's shown a lot of skill today. I mean, he's been very, very solid. At the moment, he's sitting in 3rd place, so he has an opportunity here with a really nice cut to move to the top of the ranking and put some pressure on guys like Peter Eriksson and Emil Svensson, who are sitting currently 1 and 2 in the overall standings. But Bart Gevers is in a good position right now as we set him on fire in discipline number 3 for our intermediates, as he gets a big stare down from his colleague.
Athlete ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Good start. Oh, I said it too soon. He got a big hookup that cost him a good 1 to 1.5 seconds, but then he got back into the flow. He's moving that saw quite quickly. Let's see if he can keep that flow going through to the bottom of this block as he's just coming towards the 20-second mark and just gets there in 19.50 seconds. So that is a solid time for Bart Gevers.
Absolutely, and he was using the whole length of the saw. That was really nice to see, because you always remind me, and you keep saying, take a look at, and he did. He definitely did.
And again, he's got those shot put or discus shoes on with the big spikes on there. At least the old school shot putters and discus throwers used to use those, and that just gives them a little bit more grip on the floor as they're trying to move back and forth there.
It could also be good for dancing or skating. Or
well, if you're dancing on ice without skates, sure. No, but I mean, that extra grip just allows you to push off that back foot, drive through the hips, and then push that saw through, and just gives you better grip on both sides. And he had a really nice, clean cut, and with 19.30 official after adjustment, that's a good time. So that is the time to beat for our intermediates at the moment.
And that is the time to beat for our next heat. Let's take a closer look at our 2 athletes, Johan Segerstedt and Klaus Magnus Halvorsen. Personal bests with 41.13 and 33.42 would not make them the favorites to beat the time of Bart Gevers.
Not at the moment, no, but after a really disappointing standing block job by Klaus Magnus Halvorsen, he's going to want to step in here and really put the hammer down, literally. Johan Segerstedt also at the moment in 5th position. You know, if he has a blistering time, he might compete for top spot, but that's going to really require like a massive time here. There are those blocks that we talked about for our guys that don't have the spiked shoes. Not massively wide stances either by either of these
Athletes
guys.
ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
So Segerstedt very gingerly gets that saw moving and gets a bit of a stick going there as he's hooked up a couple of times, but it didn't look too damaging. Halvorsen seems to have nice flow, but he's using his arms a lot, and that's going to tire him out quickly as he gets towards the middle of the block. And he is pushing frantically to try and keep that saw moving. Segerstedt very gingerly still trying to find the flow, but he's only using about 45 centimeters of the saw. And Halvorsen with a personal best of 31.41. So that's nice to see right there. Definitely an improvement for him after that disappointing standing block job. Segerstedt just not really as efficient as he could be here, using short, choppy cuts and not using the entire length of the saw. And that's by virtue of basically just standing on that back leg and pushing back and forth with his arms.
And is it maybe also losing your confidence? And
for sure.
You go for shorter strokes just to make sure not to lose the flow if you're going with the whole length of the saw?
For sure. I mean, it like I said, a lot of this comes down to experience.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, both cuts are good.
Yeah, it's like, he nods his head. Yeah, I know. It was not a good cut. It was a good cut, but it was not a good time. It's the...
So a couple of Norwegians on the top of the single buck ranking for the moment, with Segerstedt getting himself a 52.60 time. And Gevers with a 19.30, really solid time for him. That it still remains to be beaten here in single buck for our intermediates.
Yeah, and we've got 4 more Swedes coming, so I'm pretty sure there is a big chance of that time getting beat, but it's going to be a tough one, and Peter Eriksson and Kim Wolke are going to be next to try and succeed.
A couple of guys that are pretty close together in size and in their personal bests, so it should be an interesting battle between these two. Incredibly expensive saws here for a hand saw.
If you say incredibly expensive, what amounts of money are we talking about? Just approximately?
Upwards of 1,500 or more for a custom-made laser-cut saw in the best possible quality and condition.
And I think everybody has their own secrets about getting the saw as sharp as possible.
Well,
not everybody wants to share all the knowledge.
The thing is that the raker or sweeper teeth and cutter teeth are almost always the same. It's just laser cut and very, very sharp, hand sharpened laser cut. Sometimes it's about the shape of the saw or how much material is above the teeth.
Okay.
As opposed to
athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, a bit of hopping by Kim Wolke there. Eriksson's got his saw moving as he's going for those frantic
but
cuts.
look at the speed.
He needs to breathe.
Yeah.
It almost looked like he was holding his breath there for a second.
That's what I thought. You know, you don't want him to fall over, drop out.
Yeah, Wolke getting close to the bottom, and his cuts were really crazy at the start, but he's actually got himself a personal best of 25.60. And Eriksson with a 29.50 personal best, and that puts Eriksson into first place in the overall standings for the moment with 17 points total. So he's been consistent throughout the entire competition, and that's showing in his standing at the moment.
So all we need is to wait for Bart Jensen to give us a both cuts are good, hopefully.
Hopefully.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, both cuts are good.
That's what we want to hear. 2 more personal bests.
You can almost hear it in his voice when he says, "Ladies and gentlemen, both cuts are good." So Bart Gevers with his 19.30 by virtue of that time holds on to top spot in single buck, but we've seen some shifting around there with Kim Wolke getting a nice personal best of 25.46, moving into second place there and pushing everybody else down a notch in our last heat coming up.
And this is, of course, the final heat in the single buck discipline. 2 Swedes coming onto stage, Emil Svensson and maybe my personal favorite at the moment, Victor Klarmo, 116 Ks, 1.81 meters tall, and he's been rocking it.
He's been
Except
solid.
for that DQ at the beginning,
he's been very
he's
solid.
showing us he's made great improvements since the last time we've seen him compete.
Now, the only thing he had a problem with was at the beginning with that DQ with a cutout, but otherwise he's been solid through the competition. And standing block chop, he was good. Single buck with assist is the question now on everybody's mind for Victor. Emil Svensson, he's got a good personal best there. There was a freestyle motocrosser back in the day called Morgan Carlson. We used to call him the Sweet Swede. But I think I might change that to Emil Svensson being the Sweet Swede here, because he's been really solid throughout the day as well. Stock saw gets 7 points there. Standing block chop, he had 5 points. He's currently sitting in third in the overall standing. So if he gets a good cut here and comes close to his personal best time, he'll move into the top position. But Victor also has a really solid personal best of 15.39. So this could be a good battle between these two guys. I was just going to say, wow, that's a weird hand position, but they were just repositioning the saw. I was like, hey, he's not going to cut like that, is he? But no, it's just him waiting for his assistant to help him reposition the saw in the set groove. Oh, there's some concentration right there.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, that's a great start from both athletes.
Interesting, their styles are very similar. Positions are similar as well, just from another hand side
like
for Svensson.
Yeah.
But they're using quick, choppy strokes. Oh! Is that a world record? Is that a world record?
I told you, this man is on fire.
Unbelievable, fantastic job by that man, and you called it, Marcus. Good job. Victor Klarmo with a 13.45 world record. That is fantastic.
No way. Let's wait.
Wow, what a push from Victor. Unbelievable.
And that finish,
I don't think he cares if he wins the. I don't think he cares if he wins the competition.
Yeah,
Taking that home is going to be a huge deal for him. All right, let's wait and see here.
Stand 1, good. Stand 2. We have a new intermediate world record. Congratulations.
Yes,
we have
the confirmation.
I think we have to go up on stage and get an interview with him. We got to get Anders over there. And right away, Raimo making sure that he is ready to go with Anders. And we'll give him a second here as we take a look at the rankings now in single buck. 13.3 seconds for Victor Klarmo. A fantastic run there in single buck, taking the world record for the interview. And we are going to go up to Anders on stage right now with Victor.
We have just seen a new intermediate world record in the single buck. Victor Klarmo, congratulations.
Thank you very much, Anders. It feels really good. I've been chasing this the whole season, so it feels really good.
Is this your very best event?
Well, now it is.
You started out in the sport years back and have come back now just since this year?
No, I started again 2020. I took up the sport again, and yeah, I've been coaching a lot, and it's fun to spread the sport. Good to find new athletes and spread the sport here in Sweden and the Nordic countries.
So when will we see you challenging the pro division now?
Well, now when it's going this good, maybe next year.
Let's hope so. Congratulations to the world record. Victor Klarmo is the new world record holder in the intermediate division.
Wow.
What a character.
And he's got his disc that had that world record time in his hand. He's going to take that one home and wrap it in plastic and probably cover it in gold and put that one on the wall. That's amazing.
I would.
Big congratulations to Victor Klarmo.
Talking about world records, let's take a closer look at the World Championship that's coming up in October. Don't miss out. It's going to be absolutely fantastic.
Absolutely fantastic. I'm looking forward to that one big time.
Yeah, and of course, so we're looking forward for our last discipline, and the women are back. This is where it all will be decided. We're getting ready for our last discipline, the underhand chop. And here's all you need to know about this discipline.
Check it out.
The axes used in timber sports definitely can't be bought at your local hardware store. Made from special steel, the blade is hand-sanded with an angle of 13 to 16 degrees. It's custom built and carefully adjusted for each competition. The weight is around 3 kilos and it's about 80 centimeters long. The blade is so sharp that you could shave with it. Underhand chop. In the past, the underhand chop technique was used to split logs. Standing on a horizontally anchored block, the athletes cut with the axe through a 27-centimeter log. The block has to be worked from both sides.
One more discipline for the women. Just one.
And this is the discipline where the new athletes in the sport will begin to learn how to utilize the axe and cut with the angles, because it's the safest version to learn that on before they move to the standing block chop, which we saw earlier on in the day. But this can be a fun one as well, as it gets really hectic and wild out there.
Well, let's take a closer look at the standings for the moment. And here you have it. Übing with 9 points up front. Njastad with 8, and then Einfalt with 7. These three are going to be the ones that are going to decide who's going to be on top today. So a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, and we're seeing a lot more women join the sport. And I mean, here we have a pretty thin group of women that are competing, but it is improving from event to event, and we're seeing a lot more, which is fantastic.
And things are getting loud because Heat 1 will be Asa Nordberg fighting all by herself. And then we have in Heat number 2, Felixia Bank and Tove Njastad. And finally in Heat number 3, Julia Einfalt and Alron Übing. So everything and anything is still possible.
Yep.
Time to find out who's going to take home the win today.
And it's 9, 8, and 7 points, respectively, in the top 3 positions here. So a good time in the underhand chop can change the ranking drastically as Åsa Nordberg gets ready for her underhand chop. There you can see she got 2nd place at the Elmia Women's Cup in 2022.
Okay. Athlete ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Nice clean cuts to start. You can see the accuracy of Åsa's hits there as she gets in and starts to slab out that block a little bit. And obviously, nice and clean is the way you want to be. Now you'll see she's wearing pretty soft-soled shoes there. That may beg the question, well, wouldn't you want to worry about cutting your foot wide open?
Yes.
You can also see just a hint of the chainmail socks that these athletes are required to wear when practicing these disciplines. And that is in order to protect the foot and leg from being cut. Now, obviously, if that axe hits a foot, you could probably break a toe or something like that, but at least it's not going to cut through and do some major damage to the tendons. Åsa's just moved to the other side of her block now. You can see nice, clean drivers going in there, in line with each other. Hans-Ove Hansen in the background, keeping a close eye on what's going on. One of the main coaches for the Swedish athletes. She's got to make sure she get a solid time here, as the time will also be an issue for DQs.
Oh, and she needs the support from the crowd now.
Yeah, and now they're making some noise out there. She's getting close to cutting through.
Just didn't make it. That's
unfortunately, yeah, the time limit is exceeded. But she's going to keep going, and
Oh,
they're
I
going to
like
let
that.
her
I
keep
like
going,
that,
and
yeah.
I like that as well. And she is through. Unfortunately, a DQ for time exceeded in this case, and that's going to be a disappointing situation for her as well. And she's going to take that into the memory bank and think about how
Ladies
to
and gentlemen,
improve there.
Unfortunately, DQ, out of time.
Oh, and I like when Bart says, unfortunately, because
Yeah.
he feels just like we do.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, DQ out of 10. So that's the difference there, right?
Totally. That's how things work. It's a tough competition,
goes.
and
But
the
this
rules
is-
are really harsh. But
The rules are harsh, but this is all learning experience, and we've been saying it all day long. It's about getting that experience out there and improving yourself everywhere and all the time along the way. And we see that with each of these for instance, personal bests that drop. You know, it may not be the best time, but each athlete that drops a personal best, it means that they've made an improvement in their
that's great.
skill level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what we need, you know, it's improvement.
Correct.
And you can only learn while competing.
Yeah, and the more people that come in, the more pressure there is on the athletes that are there. And we're seeing the rookies, for instance, and those intermediates that are going to make the transition to pro soon are making a lot of the pros sweat. You know, we've seen a couple of
Yes.
good rookies today from the Swedish side, from the Norwegian side, as well as from the Austrian side that
And
are
more and more women
that are knocking down the door of the pro level. And the pros are going to kind of go, oof, I got to start working on my skills as well.
Yeah, and we have the International Women's Cup also nowadays. So more and more women are starting to compete.
Correct.
And you should take a closer look at our next video.
Welcome to the STIHL Timbersports International Women's Cup.
Absolutely incredibly accurate with her axe.
Yeah, just the atmosphere is amazing.
You can bet that they're going to be going absolutely bananas out there. Brand new personal best. That's amazing. She's going to get to the bottom of that one quickly. What a fantastic effort by both of these women. Jeez Louise, can you believe that?
You really have to be on top of everything. The slightest little bobble can set you back.
Martha King has showed us something here today.
Oh, wow. Vienna?
Vienna was amazing. The weather was a bit questionable on one day,
A
but
bit like today, yeah.
we take it. It's the same here today.
And the
a little bit of
athletes
rain.
take it as well, yeah.
Yeah. And there's still a crowd here on hand. They've got their umbrellas sitting down watching and cheering, and it's fantastic. The atmosphere is always good. We love to see that as they're getting ready on stage. A quick block change to make sure that everything is ready to go for our next two heats.
Oh, yeah. Oh, we've just been told the heat is going. Yeah,
Let's blab on then, huh?
So the event schedule probably is something we want you to see again and not forget about. We know we've talked about it before, but there are
so
some
much
great
coming and happening in the next
this
days.
autumn. So summer might be over, but the sun is shining for STIHL Timbersports, not only today, but also on the 4th of September, where we got the German Pro Championship coming up. The 10th of September, we'll be in Switzerland for the Swiss Pro Championship, and also in Switzerland for the European Nations Cup. We've talked about that today,
Yeah.
Troy. I know this is one of your absolute favorites.
That's one of my favorites. It's great.
And not long from then, on the 28th of October and the 29th of October, we're going to see the World Elite right around the corner in Gothenburg. We've got the Team World Championship and the Individual World Championship coming up. And of course, now we are ready for our next heat. Maybe you can hear Anders screaming on stage for a good reason, because Felicia Bank and Tove Njastad are ready to go.
Yeah, Felicia Banks had a bit of a rough day here today, starting off with the stocks on a DQ and then getting a fairly good time. I mean, she got a personal best in the single buck, and that was a nice step up for her. So I shouldn't say rough day. So let's see how she manages to stand up against Tove Neustadt in the underhand chop here. Now, Tove Neustadt looking at her personal best, 1:15.27. So for her, she's going to try and make an improvement here. First place at the Nordic Elmia Women's Cup in 2022. So she's got pedigree right now. Just waiting for the final go-ahead from Competition Control Center to Bart Janssen, and here we go.
Okay. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, that was great timing.
Yeah, Felicia Bank, she really read that well, started the axe movement, and then drove in just at the go. And
bit
again,
risky,
you can see
but
those
good.
really thin shoes. You would just very, very close to the step and the footholds there. Neustadt wearing the distinct pink sneakers. If we get a foot position from her, you can see her drivers going into the block. And again, for Felixia, it's going to be a best time no matter what, unless she's DQ'd here. And for Tova, it's about trying to beat her previous best time of 1:15:27. And they have to be done in under 1:30. Felixia moving over to the other side of her block now and starting the drivers on the front side. Tova still working on the first side of her block, looking to go a bit deeper perhaps and not have to do so much work as she switches over to the other side now. Felixia just passing the 1 minute mark, but it looks like it might be getting close for her as she's getting some nice drivers into that block. Remember, they've got to be done in under 1:30.
Oh, they're both going to make it. They're both going to make it. Come on.
Crossing the fingers here. No personal best for either of them, or for Neustadt at least.
A bit of a hiccup there.
Accuracy issues now for Felixia as she's losing power, as she's getting tired, and that's it. DQ for both of them, unfortunately. And you can see the way that Felixia is pushing this axe out in front of her instead of above her, that she just doesn't have the power anymore, and she's cutting straight in and not at an angle, but she does finally get through the block. Unfortunately, it's a DQ for both of these women on stage right now.
And Nasa Norbeck, she's going to be a bit unhappy because she just missed out on that time. And that, of course, would have given her a lot of points.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately,
in this case, we have 3 DQs so far, with Juliana Enfalt and Alra moving still coming. Ja, das habe ich gemeint, das passt schon. Wir haben ein anderes Problem, wir haben keine Power.
All right, so just plugging our tablet back in here, running out of power. We just saw a DQ for both of those women that were on stage, which is an unfortunate situation, but you can see how after a while you get tired and then the axe
just like our tablet, you know,
you start to lose the power, right? The axe comes out in front instead of going up above for a better power driver into the block, and also the angle of the hits becomes more and more straight and you're not getting clean cuts.
So one more final heat to find out who's going to take home the win here at the Nordic Women Cup 2022. Juliana Enfalt versus Iron Übing. That's our heat number 3.
Talked with Alren earlier on and asked her how her hand was doing. She showed me the healed skin on top of that gash that was in her hand, and she can bend and work the fingers, and she said she was surprised that the skin had grown back in so quickly. So it's nice that she doesn't have a hole in her hand anymore, and she'll be able to grip that axe. And any previous pictures from Vienna, you see that her whole hand was more or less wrapped up in bandages and stuff. She is very, very strong, though. She has the national record for underhand chop for Germany with a 38.79. So look for her to get going heavily in this drive.
Okay. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
A little bit of a delay by Alren to get started, and now the women are in sync with each other, but Übing starting to keep the flow going. A little bit of a stick for Alren as she got that axe caught, and you can see here some nice accurate drivers for Juliana. Doing a great job there. How smooth is that one side there? See, she switches over to the other side of her block. Alren still on the first side. Huge power, but that's causing her problems as she got that axe stuck and gingerly moves over to the other side.
We're not going to see a DQ in this heat, trust me.
I don't think so, and Juliana at the moment has the advantage, having moved over to the other side of her block about 4 or 5 strokes ahead of Alren, but this is where Alren becomes stronger later in the heats.
Whoa,
wow,
Juliana!
Personal best by Juliana with a 48.04. She absolutely blasted her previous personal best of a 54.32, and Alren...
More than 6 seconds, wow.
I might have spoken too earlier, jinxed her. I feel bad now because she's struggling on the backside of this block, and normally she's stronger in the second half of her cuts. And there you go, 113.86. That's going to be a disappointment for her. She knows she can do better. I'll have to ask her how she felt with that one later on. I don't know what the answer is going to be.
Yeah, but she still showed us a smile. She's just such a happy person.
She's that type of person. She's just chill, relaxed, and happy-go-lucky.
And she can be happy because in all over points, she
ladies and
is the
gentlemen.
one with the most.
Gets good.
13 points for Alrun, 12 for Juliana. And then we have Tove Njasted, Asa Nordbeck, and Felicia Bank.
Well, there you go. That's going to be our final heat for underhand chop for our women, as our stage crew, which we have not mentioned at all today. We have to give props to our stage crew.
Totally.
Those guys come out there, they change the blocks, they clean the stage. This is such an important aspect of this event, because without them, that stage would just be unsafe to work on.
Oh yeah, they're like a Formula One team. They're doing a fantastic job.
Absolutely.
And here we have the underhand chop results with Juliana Einfeld giving us her personal best and showing us a fantastic time, 47.83. Übing also making it within the time limits, maybe not the time that she expected, but still claiming 4 points. And no points for Nordbeck, Bank, and Njasted. Giving us a final result. Here comes the overall ranking. And there we have to say this, of course, will be different to the Nordic Women Cup result at the end of the day. But yeah, over to you.
So Alrun Übing with the 13 points, just 1 point behind is Juliana. So, I mean, a great event for both of these women who have really showed some skill out there. But it gets tiring. Come on, let's be honest. For everybody, you know, you're swinging an axe, you're pushing a saw, you're cutting, and you're chopping all day long. It is tiring, and your muscles and your body just get worn out after the day is done.
A great job. And of course, we want to talk to Alrun, who claimed the most points today. Over to you, Anders.
Thank you. I'm with Alrun Übing, who is the winner of the women's division. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You looked very even in all events. Did you feel comfortable?
Yes, I felt really comfortable. I'm so lucky to got this invitation to come here to spend a nice time in Sweden and this competition. It's really nice here. Thank you.
And you struggled with the axe. Is the axe something you need to improve?
I need to improve it, but I had a flu last week, so my power has not quite come back. But I'm happy with it. It's okay.
Your power was enough to win the women's division. Congratulations. Thank you very much.
All right. What a great character, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. I think she's probably more humble and humbled by being able to be invited to the event here. So congratulations to Alrun for doing a great job today, amassing the most points and the top performance of the day.
Absolutely. That was great stuff. We're going to have the winners' ceremony coming up right after our rookies and our intermediates, who are going to go for the underhand chop now as well. And yeah, we're going to find out who's going to claim most of the points in the rookies competition in just a moment.
And this is really, for the rookies, this is a big deal because this is the tell-all for these guys. This is where the positions can change drastically because there are pretty close scores between the top, I'm going to say 4 or 5 guys. We're looking at like in 5th place, 18, moving up till the top spot of 25 points. So it's all open at the moment for the top 5 guys.
Yeah, and you've just seen our 6 heats. That's going to be very interesting to follow as well. And of course, the overall standing. Who's going to still go for gold, silver, and bronze? We've got Konicek here together with Bjons with 25 points right on top of the table. Carlsen, 21 points. Vagesreiter, 20. Pedersen even with 18, and Andersen with 16 points, as well as Staff with 16 points, and Berglund with 15.
Yeah, it's close.
Still within reach, and let's not forget this is the Nordic Rookie Cup, so that means at the end of the day we're only going to see Konicek and Vagesreiter as guests.
Correct.
They might be on top of the table, but they will be not on top of the podium because these are the Nordic competition. This is the Nordic Championship. Correct. And yeah, well, that's what's going to be doing all the maths and taking a closer look at that.
Got some action coming your way. Nevertheless, the underhand chop for the rookies is up next, and it sounds
with
to me
all the
like
athletes.
They're still setting up the blocks. And again, I mentioned the stage crew from earlier on. We always say props to the stage crew because they do such a good job. Why is it dangerous? Because there's all that stuff that's lying around. You can't leave it lying around up there. as we get set up for our next heat. And the first heat in the underhand chop for our rookies.
You just heard it. Axel Björk and Albin Nielsen will be competing in this first heat. And they all desperately need those points.
So these two guys don't have personal best logged into the system yet, so as long as they are within the time limit here today, they will log some personal bests in, and I'm crossing my fingers that that's actually going to be the case for them.
Okay. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
So there's a view of Albin Nielsen with the number 11 block and Axel Björk on the other side. Nice clean cuts, nice clean drivers so far. It's Björk actually who's getting the most slabs coming off of his block so far. Yeah, Nielsen now has finally a big one that came off of his, and you can see both of them trying to get those power drivers in, and that piece of wood that's just hanging there could pose problems if it gets in the way of the axe on a couple of drivers, but it looks like Nielsen's got some nice accurate hits there. Let's see who's going to move to the other side of their block first as they get to the 45-second mark on their time. It's going to be Nielsen with a little bit of a balance check there as he moves around to the other side and starts working on the front side of his block facing the audience. Björk now moving over to the other side as they just passed the 1 minute 5 second mark, so they've got 25 seconds or 20 seconds now to go. Trying to get some support from Anders and the audience up there to get these guys through within the time limit. That's going to be a tough one now with 6 seconds to go. It doesn't look like they're getting very close to being deep into that front side. And that is all she wrote. DQ, time exceeded for both of these guys as they get stopped right away. And you can see they're both breathing heavy. There's a lot going on in the mind of an athlete, but physically as well.
Okay,
and both of those things together can really be tiring.
Out of time.
So our first heat results in 2 DQs.
And that, of course, is something we do not like to see, but these things happen. And of course, those logs, I mean, they are big, and 90 seconds is not a long time, trust me.
It's not. It's not a long time when you think about the amount of time it takes to go to the washroom and take care of your business. I mean, some of these guys cut through a block faster than that happens.
Oh, for
okay,
sure.
Weird example.
No details, please.
But nevertheless, it's a process, and it's the experience, and we've been harping on it all day long. I know, blah, 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 but it really plays a huge role in the fitness of these guys and being able to keep that pressure and that power and that speed and that pace up throughout an entire day of all of this, and not to forget that before the competition actually went on stage, these guys were training and testing blocks in the background. So there's a lot going on a day like today.
And we're off to the next heat. We keep on rolling. Anton Lindberg versus Espen Pedersen. Personal best with Pedersen, 51.55.
I'm curious to know how Anton manages here. I mean, he is a long, lanky kid as well. Is he going to be able to use that to his advantage? Let's see.
Okay. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Nice start by Espen Pedersen as he gets the first couple of drivers in and slabs out some very nice pieces. Lindberg actually has a nice style right off the hop. You could see that. A step down by Espen Pedersen. Got to be careful there that he makes sure he's back on block and in secure position before he swings, but he moves to the other side. Lindberg doing a very good job on the first side of his block. Now he needs to move to the other side and start cutting through. He's very deep, but he's done a good job. So using his long legs and arms to his advantage, but now you can see he's getting a bit tired. and he's not bringing the axe up as high. He's bringing it more out in front, and the difference there between him and Peterson in the style. Peterson with a personal best of 41.42.
Nice.
And Lindberg should have a time here that will give him a personal best if he can get through in the next 25 or 35 seconds. Let's see if he can do it. We're crossing our fingers for the young man. He's just past the minute mark, and he's getting close. Steps down, gets back up, sets himself up again. The balance is so important on top of that block. He's almost
there. He's going to do it. He's
And
going to do it. Come on.
Driver to get
Yes.
through. He's done it with a personal best of
Oh,
1:11.36.
even a personal best. How about that?
Yep, that's a great job by Anton Lindberg. He clocked himself a time.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, both guns are good.
So there
Well
you go.
done.
Personal best for both of these guys, and Espen Peterson pulling a face for the audience as he enjoys that one very much so. So underhand chop, Espen Peterson with the time to beat for now with a 41.10, and Anton Lindberg with the next fastest time over a minute, but he's got himself a personal best. That's the first time that he's going to record a personal best. So now
Lovely.
he's got a marker that he can work towards beating.
Oh, no pressure there. Yeah,
No pressure
now he's
at
got
all.
the mark. He's going to keep on going from there.
Exactly.
2 DQs, 2 personal bests, a lot of drama in this first discipline. Let's not forget the World Championships coming up.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that. The World Championships is going to be here in Gothenburg. This time around, though, we're going to be in the stadium in Gothenburg, and
yeah.
that's a big deal because we can fit a ton of people in there, and there will be a ton of people coming for the World Championships. It's going to be a great event. I'm looking forward to that.
Something very special and great atmosphere. And to give you a bit of a feeling what you can expect, watch this.
So make sure you get your tickets to the Partille Arena for the World Championships,
Legendary
28th
place.
and
Legendary
29th of October. It's going to be legendary.
28th and 29th of October, that's the dates for the Team World Championship and, of course, the Individual World Championship. We just saw a beautiful teaser. They gave me goosebumps again. But that's going to be rocking. That's going to be just rocking and rolling, just like we had in 2019 in Prague. And some other competitions still coming up this end of summer, beginning of autumn. I mean, that's the perfect time for STIHL Timbersports.
Yeah, September is a busy month for STIHL Timbersports, as you've just seen from the schedule there. Today, we're here in just outside of Gothenburg, actually. And we've got the next heats locked and loaded on stage. So there's still more action today, and there's still more action in September. So plenty to see and do in the next month.
Edvin Berglund taking on Johan Staff. Oh, you can see Anders and hear Anders getting loud and excited. 2 personal bests that would indicate that we're not going to see a DQ, and that's what we're hoping for.
Hoping for, but Edvin Berglund is a 119 personal best, so he's really on the cusp of being close to, getting kicked out there. So as long as he can keep his cuts clean and consistent, we should see him with a time logged in. Same for Johan Staff.
Okay. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Right away, a big stick for Johan Staff on his first driver and his third driver as he switched over to the left hand. Berglund looking pretty good on the first few hits for him as well. Exhaling on each driver, that's good to just release that power a little bit more. You don't want to hold your breath in these situations because that just builds up the lactic acid in your muscles and makes it even harder to keep going. Staff has moved over to the other side of his block quite quickly though. Now Berglund doing the same thing as he starts the drivers on the front side of his block. Staff opting to show his butt off to the audience today as he finishes off his second side. Berglund, couple of nice big slabs coming off. His cuts are nice. Oh yeah, and Staff with a personal best of 45.85. We didn't see that one, but saw the time stop and heard the block fall. As
How about that for a finish?
Keep an eye on Berglund, who appears like he might even get a personal best time as well, as he's getting close to cutting through there. He needs to be careful and clean, and he does it.
Yes, yes, yes.
There's some relief as well for him as he steps away from that with a deep breath and knows that he's got a personal best and some improvement has been made.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, both gets good.
Yes, sir. So what does that mean for the underhand chop at this very moment? 2 DQs, 4 personal bests, and Pedersen and Staff up on top of the board.
Very close to each other as well in the 40-second range, or just over it there. So really nice runs so far, and always like to see those personal bests with 2 more heats to go, I believe. Nope. 3 more. There's going to be a single-man heat with Lukas Wagereiter being alone on stage. So next up will be Bo Anderson, your favorite, up against Adam Björns. Adam had a fantastic single buck earlier on. That was just a really nice run from him.
There's quite a lot we can expect from this man, especially competing with Bo Anderson, who has been surprising us all day long. So,
yeah. And Adam Björns has got a great personal best time, 34.44. So hopefully we'll see improvement there.
It was a bit like Rafa Nadal getting himself prepared, totally focused.
Okay.
Pulling the shirt.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, perfect timing there.
Oh, nice hits by Bo, as he's got some good slabs coming off there quickly. And now the pace is starting to increase for Bo Anderson.
Look at that.
Anderson. Björn's already on the other side. Anderson working on the backside, slapping out nicely. Anderson's good. A personal best of 32.89. Björn's trying to get through that block of his as well.
Wow.
And he's done it in a 41.32. Didn't get his personal best, but he's got a solid time. So Bo Anderson is at the top of the underhand chop results, with Adam Björn sitting in 3rd place there. Great result for both of these guys, and it's Adam Björns who moves to the top of the overall rankings with 2 more heats to go.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, both gets good.
So for the moment, it's Anderson taking home 11 points and Björn's 10. But of course, we've got 3 more competitors still to compete, and this might change like it has been changing so many times.
It's been changing so many times. It's anybody's guess what's going to happen out there on stage.
But Björn's at the moment overall up front with 35 points before Bo Anderson. So I think there's still
anything can
no
happen
time
out there.
to make any predictions.
It's been crazy all day long. No more predictions.
Absolutely not. Maybe one prediction. You're going to see a nice video now from one of our partners, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy that. Yeah, perfectest timing, perfect timing as we return.
Jumped into a bit of German there.
Yeah, because Lukas Markusreiter, the Austrian, has just entered the stage and is fully motivated. He is our next heat because he is competing all by himself. And there we go with his details. His personal best is 22.82. So
that's a solid personal best. Let's see if he can pull that off today or better.
And he's ready to go.
He's motivated and focused. Here we go, Lukas.
Okay. Athlete ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Nice timing on the start by Lukas Markusreiter. You could see the accuracy of his blows and the quickness that he's driving that axe into the block.
My word, is he motivated.
Barely getting the axe stuck at all. Just one time, really small, and then switch to the other side very quickly. Oh, but a couple of big sticks there on that side as he tries to get those slabs out, but you can see how smooth those cut sides are. As he's so accurate. Oh my God, that's a great time by Lukas. 25.72 as he got through there a little bit quicker than I thought he was going to get through there on that second side. Great job, though.
Those last blows, they were making the difference. And that would mean he has the best time of the day.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Good, good.
So with adjustment, there's a 25.22, so even faster, and that's the best time of the day, like you said, Marcus.
So here we have the confirmation, Markusreiter, Andersen, Björns. That's the top three at the moment, but still two athletes to come, Robin Konicek and Edvin Karlsson.
So last heat should be coming up on deck here any second, like you said, Robin Konicek, Edvin Karlsson. Again, two guys that are very evenly matched up here as we look at their times. Edvin Karlsson slightly the advantage when we look at the personal best, but as we've seen all day long, when guys are motivated by knowing who's next to you and their personal best time, that can help you along the way. And that could be a good thing for Robin Konicek, who is very, very solid in this discipline.
And all the top athletes so close together at this very moment. As we go into the deciding heat of the competition.
Watch the axe speed of Edvin Karlsson when he gets going here, though. He should be moving that axe quite quickly. Okay, we just had a brief stoppage there for whatever reason. Not quite sure, but Bart Janssen has gone off stage to check something out with one of his judges on the side in Competition Control Center.
Oh, that's interesting.
This is where they have the video camera screens for a quick check on the side there. Let's see what's happening here.
Some extra drama for us in this final heat of the rookies competition.
Okay, here we go. Looks like we're official to start now.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
All right, right away you see Karlsson with that quick axe, but Konicek keeping pace with him right away. The accuracy both of these guys have is incredible. Moving over to the other side, a quick step down by Karlsson that might make a small disadvantage against Konicek, who's very good here, but Karlsson keeping those very close to the knee here as he cuts in, as he's through in a personal best, 23.43.
No way!
Konicek with a big stick 2 times back-to-back, 3 times now as he's trying to get through, swings it and does it in a 31.13. But that is an amazing time for Edvin Karlsson. That puts him atop the rankings for the underhand chop with the fastest time of the day there.
But Konicek can be pleased as well.
Both guns are good.
Because on the overall rankings, he has achieved the most points, a total of 34. And of course, Adam Björns and Edvin Karlsson, the top 2 with 32 points. And this is just a time thing now between the two men to find out who's going to be the Nordic champion.
So let's take a look at the results from the underhand chop. As you saw there, a 23.09 from Edvin Karlsson, but He did have a DQ in the stock saw earlier on, so that's going to cause problems when we're looking at the overall. And remember, our guest athletes, Vagesreiter and Konacek, won't be on the podium today, so we'll see who the next closest athlete is in the final results, and that's going to be Adam Björns. He is your Nordic Rookie Champion. So great job by Adam Björns to be consistent and solid throughout the day. And it was that stock saw that put him over in the end.
Close. Both of them had 32 points.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of time. He had the faster times, and that's what made the difference at the end of the day.
At this point, it's the stock saw in the beginning. Adam was quick with the 11 points, the full pull, and Edvin Karlsson had the DQ. So,
I mean,
let's go up and get an interview with Adam on stage.
Could it be any closer? No, it could not. 32 points apiece, you know, just both celebrating STIHL Timbersports, and you become the Nordic champion because you were just that little bit faster at the end of the day. Fantastic. And we've just been told that that Adam is running to stage now for the winner's interview.
I pulled the trigger a bit too soon on that one. Sorry, folks, but we'll hear from Adam shortly.
He's the man we want to talk to. I mean, he's taking on the title. And Anders, I think we're ready to rock. Over to you.
Yes, we're here with Adam Björns. Congratulations, Adam.
Thank you very much.
Very, very close. I think the same points as well as others. Did you feel safe at any point?
A little bit, but it was very disappointed that Karlsson DQ'd at the stock saw.
But that's timber sports. A DQ costs you too much.
Yeah, it does.
And after this, where is your aim? When are we going to see you in the pro division?
I don't know, actually.
But you're the Nordic Rookie Champion now.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Congratulations, Adam Björns.
A man of few words, a humble winner here. Fantastic.
But he gave us the thumbs up at the end.
There you go.
What a character.
But like we said, we're going to have to teach these guys how to celebrate and really put the flex on and play with the camera. But you know what? It's all good in the hood that
amazing.
He's taking it down, huh?
Yeah, I know. What a bunch of nice guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great stuff. And you saw the high five. You know, it's been very close competition. Everything fantastic.
Speaking about the competition, we saw a little bit on the competition wood earlier on. I mentioned starting off in the show that you're seeing a lot of sawdust and a lot of stuff that's being thrown around on stage. And you might wonder, hey, what's going on here? You're wasting wood. This is totally ecologically unfriendly, but it's not really the way, is it?
Definitely not. And we'll show you more about sustainability right now.
We as STIHL Timbersports pride ourselves that all wood is sustainably grown, harvested and recycled to minimise the overall amount of wood processed. Firstly, this poplar wood is grown on certified plantations. Secondly, the white pine for our sawing disciplines is only sourced from certified forest management. After all our STIHL competitions, all the spent wood is collected and recycled right down to the wood chips and sawdust, which, for example, is converted into renewable energy in the form of wood pellets for biomass. We quest to find certified partners. This ensures that all newly planted trees are nurtured and managed, promoting maximum efficiency and sustainability for the future conservation of our valuable forests.
Therefore, as you can see, with good harvesting practices and good management with silviculture, the ground is quickly replaced by new trees, or could even be used for arable for farmers and future rotations.
We know the winners of the women's competition. We know the winners of the rookies competition. One more coming up.
Intermediates now.
Let's see who's still competing. Here are the heats, the final heats, and you just heard it. Bert Gevers will be the first to compete by himself in heat number 1. Then we've got Kim Wolke and Johan Segerstedt, followed by heat number 3 with Klaus Magnus Halvorsen and Emil Svensson. And finally heat 4, Peter Eriksson versus Victor Klamo. That's our heats, that's the underhand chop, that's the final decision in the intermediates.
Here we go. And as I said, Bart's been really, really consistent throughout the day. He's got 12 points in the overall standing at the moment with a good solid underhand chop. Like with any of the other events, he can jump up in the overall rankings significantly. So He's going to be motivated to do well here. And for the intermediates, this is really the tell-all discipline.
3, 2, 1, go!
Good start by Bart right away as he gets into that block with some nice, accurate drivers. Pretty wide. A little slip there, not massive. It was barely noticeable, but it was there nevertheless. Couple of slabs coming off. He should switch to the other side fairly quickly here, I would say.
Deep into the wood already.
Yeah, he's deep. Yeah. Just like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, deep thought. Here we go, deep cut. And now he moves to the other side, just passing the 30-second mark. A little bit surprised that he didn't go over earlier on. A couple of guys in the preparation tent on the sidelines waiting for Bart to finish his as they watch on. I'm actually quite surprised that it's taken him that long there, but he's got a personal best of 52.34, and you know what? He seems super pleased with that.
The reaction.
Yeah, absolutely pleased with that. Great job by Bart Gievers.
But how much potential is in that guy?
Tons of potential.
I'm sure he doesn't know.
He's been super consistent all day long.
Good.
Yeah.
So very, very good job by Bart Gievers to show that he is a solid competitor.
Fantastic
guy. And you know, like you say, there's a ton of potential in that man.
And I think he doesn't even realize how good he is or how good he could be.
Or at least he's just not showing it to us, huh?
Maybe. We'll ask him right afterwards.
All right, next up we have Kim Wolke going up against Johan Siegerstedt. That's our next heat in the blocks.
You sound like a Swede.
A sweet Swede.
Yeah, definitely not.
Or maybe in my case, a Swede that eats too much sweets.
Okay, let's get ready for Kim Wolke and Johan Siegerstedt.
All right, so both of these guys have personal bests that are well above the minute mark, at least in Kim Wolke's case, 121, so he'll definitely want to improve. Here we go.
1, go!
You could see very gingerly hits from Siegerstedt there, as he's really trying to stay on the accurate tip, and Kim Wolke now starting to pick up the pace as we see a couple of slabs forming and waiting to come off that block. Good job, nice driver there. He got nice and deep, a good chip came out. He'll switch to the other side any second now. Yep, there he goes, moving to the other side of his block. Siegerstedt, meanwhile, has just stepped over about 3 strokes behind Kim Wolke. Kim Wolke looking good as they're coming up on the 42nd mark. Could we see personal best for both of these guys? Siegerstedt still being very accurate with his hits, but not throwing in much power there. Big stick for him. Wolke not as fast on the second side. Siegerstedt's got a good one. He's got himself a personal best of 54.85. And I think what he did is he went accurate and deep on the first side and didn't have as much work to do on the backside. Kim Wolke trying to get through there. He should be done any second now. That block is wiggling and waggling, and there he goes through with a personal best. Well done, 107.33 for Kim.
Not bad at all. 3 personal bests after 3 athletes.
Love to see that. If it could be personal best across the board, I would be happy for all of those guys. Absolutely. But there's discussion. Did he cut into the foothold? If he did, that's going to be a DQ. Uh-oh. Let's see.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Stand 2. Okay. Stand 1. DQ. Good foothold. Sorry.
That's a shame. That's a shame.
All right, that's unfortunate there for Kim because he cut into the foothold, and that is a safety aspect as well, making sure that the position of the feet and those marked footholds are not cut into, and being sure that all those drivers are going in the correct spots in between the feet. So that's a DQ for Kim. Even though he got the personal best, it was short-lived. And for him, that's no points in this discipline. That's going to be disappointing for him for sure.
But you say it's a safety topic. Does it mean if you just touch the line, you're already having a DQ? Or
it's pretty close to that. I mean, these guys are very, very strict about the footholds because you know, your feet are on there, and then there's maybe a 3 centimeter piece that's just beside your foot where it marks the foothold, and then the cut lines for your actual cut. So, yeah, it's a big piece of strict rule here that they don't mess around with because of the safety aspect. Otherwise, people will start pushing to the outside, to the outside, to the outside, and then you've got a problem.
And not messing around with safety is one of our partners, Ford. Enjoy it. So here is heat number 3. Klaus Magnus Halvorsen versus Emil Svensson.
Klaus has had a pretty rough day today. Single buck wasn't so solid for him. Standing block chop was a DQ. He was good in stock saw. Now he needs to be good in underhand chop as he is sitting dead last in the ranking. Meanwhile, Emil Svensson sitting in second place in the overall rank. Has been really consistent throughout the day. Let's see how he does here.
3, 2, 1, go!
So Emil Svensson, my new sweet Swede, is looking very good on those first few drivers. And he should be coming around to the other side any second now, as he's gone quite quickly through the first side with those first half dozen to 12, to a dozen shots, as Halvorsen still working on the first side. He's going to opt to show off his backside to the audience when he decides to switch over, but he's got that axe stuck quite a few times. Oh my goodness! A season's best and personal best for Svensson with a 32-21.
How about that?
That signs him up for the top spot in the overall rankings for the moment. There's one more heat still to go. Halvorsen struggling to get through on that backside. Will he have himself a personal best? It's not going to happen as he's past 50 seconds, but he wasn't that far off with a 55-19.
But Svensson, when it counts most, really delivering.
The sweet Swede in it to win it now.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, both guns good.
And that, of course, is a clear message to Eriksson and Klarmo. It's all down to the last heat. Let's take a closer look at
it really is. I mean, Eriksson and Klarmo are 3rd and 4th respectively. So with good cuts here in the underhand chop, we may have it really, really close in the top 3. We might even have a top 3 Swedish finish here. Victor Klarmo with a 34.91 personal best as the two guys come out on stage now. Peter Eriksson with a 40.20 personal best. So, you know who's going to be shaking in his boots right now with a time to beat of 32? That's Emil Svensson.
Yeah, but he gave us a seasonal best just to show the others, hey guys,
I'm here.
I'm ready for this. I've done my job. Now it's up to you. So Eriksson, Klarmo, give us Svensson. That's the top 4 at the moment, with Eriksson and Klarmo not having competed in this final heat yet. So a lot of points still to be collected.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
All right, so we'll see here how things
he
adjust.
wants this, huh?
Yeah, they both
look at his
at
speed.
that. Eriksson really working that axe quickly. Klarmo gone deep on the first side there, switching over now.
This guy has so much power.
Yeah, Eriksson's already on his side. I didn't see how many strokes ahead, but getting close to the 30-second mark now. They got to beat 32. Doesn't look like it's gonna. Oh my goodness! A personal best for Eriksson at 32.26. Is he faster than Svensson? He is not. Klarmo with a 36.30. Let's see how that changes things here.
And like you predicted, top 3 are Swedish athletes.
Oh my God. That is crazy, but it's going to be Emil Svensson.
Both gets good.
Oh, and Eriksson actually with change. Eriksson with change, personal best, season's best, so he has just moved to the top there. So he'll take those 7 points, and he'll push Emil Svensson to 2nd place in the ranking in underhand chop. But let's see how that changes things in the overall, because there's some points going on here that's going to switch things around. So in underhand chop, we've got 3 Swedes in the top 3 positions: Eriksson, Svensson, and Klarmo.
And let me tell you, it's the top 3.
Results.
It's the same 3, only in different positions with the final results.
Svensson is your winner. Eriksson comes 2nd place, and Klarmo with a fantastic performance today in 3rd place. There you go. So Svensson, Emil Svensson in the top spot in the overall standings today for the Swedes in the intermediate division. What a fantastic result. He's had absolutely amazing.
Svensson before Eriksson, before Klarmo. That's grande finale. Absolutely fantastic. Congrats to our winners, and hopefully we'll get the top man in an interview in just a few moments.
Hopefully, but what a way to finish off the day. 3 Swedes on the podium for the intermediates. Well done, boys. Congratulations.
Oh, and we're ready to go for the interview.
Well, that was quick. Let's do it.
Anders, over to you.
So we're here with the winner of the intermediate division, Oxy Emil. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Very, very tight.
Yeah, it was. Very exciting.
And you thought you had the underhand chop 1 just before up to the final heat?
Yeah, I thought that this will stand, but 12
hundredths of a second, and that is so close. So are you going to be reminding them about this all evening? Who is on top? You'll be pointing out to them that you're the Nordic champion.
Yes, of course.
Congratulations, Nordic champion of the intermediate division.
The sweet Swede, Emil.
Yeah, just give us a short wave.
Top of the spot there. Good job.
But let's not forget Viktor Klarmo having a DQ in the stock saw with a great time. Yeah. So he would have been one of those who might have changed things. And we're back to the experience again. And
well, he was fastest in the stock saw before the DQ came along. So there's your difference maker right there, folks.
And how about that? I mean, those Swedes in this competition, intermediates, wow. Yep. Really impressing us. That was absolutely fantastic. And now we're slowly but surely getting ready for our 3 winners ceremony. We've got the women's competition, we've got the rookies and the intermediates.
Yeah, stage needs to be prepared. That's going to take a couple of minutes here. And, you know, it's been a fantastic event here. It's been a fantastic atmosphere, as always. Bart just walking by our position here, waving hi to him. Speaking of the atmosphere, let's take a look at what the atmosphere can be like when the events really go off, like what we're going to see at the World Championship here in October.
Battling hard on the standing block. Who is it going to be? Is it going to be Australia or New Zealand? Oh my God, how close is this? And it's Australia!
The atmosphere last night and the team's relay was unreal.
That is their title of Team World Champion 2 years in a row.
Oh, definitely. It'd be the noisiest crowd I've competed against.
Shane Jordan's already over there.
Yeah, it's I'm actually kind of getting goosebumps thinking about it right now.
The crowds here, they were just erupting.
You feel the energy of the crowd.
My goodness, what a great comeback from Belgium with a time of 1.
The crowd was absolutely electric.
And it was so much noise and support.
Ja, doch, das pusht schon rum und mein Fanclub ist auch da.
Very passionate about their country and the competitors.
Yeah, it feels super.
Oh my goodness, look at this.
It's pretty awesome to compete in front of a crowd like this.
But he's not giving up. He's looking good.
Like such an adrenaline rush. It's an amazing feeling.
They make a lot of noise, and that's good for our spirit.
Is it going to be the checker building? And the crowd goes bananas.
It's absolutely extrem hier. Man hört's.
Goosebumps. I can't wait for October. It's going to be amazing.
Make sure to join us.
Tickets are still available. Don't slouch on this one, folks.
No, really, it's fantastic, and you're going to love it. We're going to love it, and nothing to miss out. Definitely not.
Absolutely not.
By the way, we don't want to miss out on the winners' ceremony, and I've been told the women are ready to rock, and we can go on stage right now to find out who's going to get the reward.
Brilliant performance all day. Come on to stage all together and we will be celebrating the winners in each division. All of us up together.
It's always great to see those smiles.
Yes.
I mean, in competition, they are tough.
Women up here first, and we'll start out with there.
Right after.
So we have guest athletes here, and we're going to start with the podium. Now the thing is, you can only get on the podium of the Nordic Championship if you are in fact a Nordic citizen, if you are from one of the Nordic countries. So on the podium, the top three in the Nordic Championship
and then they compete
third
like
place.
animals on
Then on
stage.
the
It's amazing.
podium is from Denmark, Felicia Bang.
So as these are the Nordic Championships 2022, we're going to see Felicia Bank in third position. Because Alron Übing and Juliana Einfalt,
the second
who has
place
the most
representing
scores,
Sweden,
were just
Åsa Nordberg.
And that means silver goes to Åsa Nordberg. As we await the new Nordic
the Nordic
champion.
Women's Champion 2022, Tove Njåstad.
There she is, Tove Njåstad. Congrats from our side. Of course, big congrats go out to Juliana Einfalt and Alron Übing.
But first of all, let's celebrate also our two brilliant guest athletes who are not in the Nordic Championships but doing exceptionally well in the competition, ending up on 12 and 13 points. Juliana Einfalt, Alron Übing. What an incredible performance. Do we have an anthem? Tove Njåstad, den nordisk mästarinna. Thank you, ladies. We are going to continue with the rookies division. Ladies, join us, please, on the Rookies division. Please welcome onto stage. Please, let's have the Rookies division all up. All of the Rookies division is Robin Konicek, Adam Björns, Edvin Karlsson, Lukas Wagensreiter, Bo Andersen, Espen Pedersen, Johan Staab, Edvin Berglund, Anton Lindberg, Axel Björk, Albin Nilsson. The entire rookie division. And in third place in the Nordic Championship, representing Denmark, Bo Andersen. In second place in the Nordic Championship, representing Sweden, Edvin Karlsson. And at the same points, 32 points, but ahead, ladies and gentlemen, the Nordic champion, Adam Björns. And we have the same situation here. Adam Björns is on top. We would have had on the podium as well had they been Nordic citizens, because 2 points ahead. And the Swedish anthem, ladies and gentlemen. Adam Björns, nordisk mästare. And let's also celebrate and thank you for coming and showing us how to do it. Robin Konicek and Lukas Wagensreiter, our international guests that would have been on podium had they only been Nordic. Thank you for coming, joining in, and competing so well against each other. That excellent picture there. Thank you. And thank you to the rookies. All of you, excellent performance. And we move on to the intermediates. Welcome up onto stage, all of you. Emil Svensson, Peter Eriksson, Viktor Klarmo, Bart Gevers, Johan Segerstedt, Kim Wolke, Klaus Magnus Halvorsson. Välkomna upp på scenen. And on the podium, in third place by the way of 19 points, and ladies and gentlemen, a new world record in intermediate single buck. På tredje plats, Viktor Klarmo! Världsrekordet i intermediate, han trodde han var klar med det hela, det han inte. Han kan ju sätta världsrekord uppenbarligen i divisionen. Nu är han på väg tillbaka, Klarmo på väg tillbaka till toppen. Och på en andra plats i tävlingen, 3 poäng för honom, mina damer och herrar, Peter Eriksson! Peter Eriksson, 2 points, 3 points ahead of Klarmo. Klarmo in the World Championship, the world record there, but 3 points behind Peter Eriksson in second place, and 2 more points up to the winner, ladies and gentlemen, the Nordic Intermediate Champion 2022, Emil Svensson! Ladies and gentlemen, the Swedish national anthem again. Thank you. Please stay on the podium there and let's have all of the winners on the podium. The winners in each division. Rookie winner, ladies winner. Please join us on the podium as well. Winners, all winners on the podium. Please go. Please stay on stage, everybody, on podium with the champagne. All the winners on the podium. Upp på prispallen, ni som har vunnit. Let's try and get on the podium, everybody. On the podium, everybody, for the photo up there. Trying to get into the champagne. Here we are. It is. Champagne all over everybody.
One of the best results
Fantastic
ever.
celebration.
The champagne shower with 9
of this,
people,
we have seen the juniors. We have seen the ladies, the rookies, the ladies, the intermediates. This has been the start of an absolutely amazing day. All together, they're celebrating so much, and we are working our way up. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being with us. We are working our way through this. This has been the rookies. This has been the ladies, the intermediate, and we're done for now. Thank you for being with us. We will be back at 4 o'clock for the big guns. Then it's time for the Nordic champion in the Pro Division, who's going to the World Championships. Be with us at 4 o'clock.
What a delightful way to start the day, huh?
Yeah,
and it's not over yet.
No, there's one more big competition, the men's pro competition for the Nordic Championship coming up at 4 o'clock this afternoon. So that's in 2 hours, or about 2 hours and 20 minutes. So make sure you join us again then. It's going to be a lot of fun. This was a busy day, but a very good day with a ton of action. Glad we were there with you for it. Hope you had a good time.
See you in a bit.